I'm
How's it going, everybody? I am the Uncanny Omar. You're watching Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And collected editions is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be going over the first annual DC Finest poll results, the books that you all voted for, and the books that we put together for you all to vote for with DC's approval. And they are going to be watching. They may be watching right now. They might be in the chat. So everybody behave. Lars. Okay, so let me go ahead and let them introduce themselves. To my left is...
What's up, guys? I'm Dom of X, CR.com editor and near mint condition person back after a very lengthy vacation. I'm happy to talk about all these DC Finest that we're going to be revealing, and this is going to be lit. And once again, thank you for having me.
Awesome. And to my right is...
Hello, everybody. It is I, Crisis with a K, coming to you live from New Zealand. I am, of course, my home on the internet at crushingcrisis.com and also on YouTube. I've been behind the scenes and in front of the scenes on this poll for months and months now, and I could not be more excited to share with you what your votes have wrought. And remember, DC is amongst you. They're in between you. They're amidst you. So have fun with them in the chat. You never know who could be a DC sleeper agent.
May I quickly offer Peter some praise? That Peter was doing a show on his channel to promote his fantasy picks for omnibuses. And when he hit the pick for Etrigan the Demon by John Byrne, I requested, could you please give your analysis in the form of rhyme? And without batting an eye, Peter was able to rhyme the expert analysis he was giving.
That's impressive. On the spot?
It is. You have been promoted to a rhymer in the hierarchy of hell.
I would have blocked Lars' ass so fast if he had asked me to do that live. That's crazy. Lars, who are you?
Who am I? Lars Pearson, publisher and editor-in-chief of Mad Norwegian Press, formerly of Wizard Magazine. And shockingly, we are doing today's show without Mr. DC Finest himself, Curtis Findlay. And officially, he had some sort of conflict, but unofficially, you know, he's a good friend of mine. But on a recent show, he mocked me because he said that he had been on near mint condition more than me. So naturally, being the Norwegian assassin, I had him bushwhacked. And the nice thing about Canadians is that they're so nice. You basically hit them, they go right down. Okay, whereas my people were Vikings. So don't worry, I'll let Curtis out eventually. But for now, I'm taking his place.
Lars has used 3 words, noun, adjective, and verb today that I've never seen used in a sentence before today.
What, bushwhacked?
No,
Yes.
I know that one.
Okay,
It's Marvel Comics. Okay.
it's only because Dom had dulcet tones.
Making her return back to near mint condition is my buddy Tessa. How are you, Tessa?
Well, I don't know if I want you saying you're my buddy in public.
You don't need that kind of
Yeah.
shit. Okay, wow. Shots fired already at the guy that is running the show. I am the Uncanny Omar. Tessa, where can people find you?
You can find me at Tessa's a Nerd on YouTube, Instagram, all that Chanagri, TikTok. I am a retailer and a generalized comic book gremlin.
Wow, retailer.
We're all gremlins down here.
Mm-hmm.
In New Zealand?
Yes.
Or just in general? Okay, so a lot of work went into this, as you all know. And before we start the slideshow, they want to remind people that hitting the like button goes a long way, please. Something free that you can do. So thank you. So we will be sharing the slides. No. Let's save the surprise here for a little bit. So this is something that DC got involved with, helping us with not necessarily the mapping, but kind of guiding us as to what we could say and could not say. So let's have some fun. Y'all ready?
Damn right.
I assume you are. Okay. Here we go. with the DC Finest poll. By the way, the slideshow is amazing. So a big thank you to Crisis and Dom for putting it all together. It looks amazing. Let me go ahead and get started with this. Tessa, what is the DC Finest line? Would you mind reading this?
Oh my God, I can't see that. Hold on 1 second.
Oh God, I forgot you're on your phone.
I am on my phone. Hold on, I got it up though. I got it up. We're good. I have a laptop.
Okay.
DC Finest is a line of trade paperbacks collecting the definitive publishing history of DC titles, characters, and teams from the Golden Age to Flashpoint in 2011. Each title line can release volumes from different periods and eras out of sequential order, e.g. a Silver Age book, a 2000s volume, a pre-crisis 80s volume. However, some title lines have so far released their volume in sequential order, e.g. JSA and Catwoman.
Thank you for that. Let me get this super chat really quick. Damn it, Omar. Yes, thank you for that. Well said. This is not a mapping show. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Tessa. Sorry about that.
Yeah, really rude of them to interrupt by helping keep your show running. That was
It was really nice. It was a really nice interruption, though. I'll take it.
The DC Finest poll was designed. Sorry, I am trying to do the phone one now. The DC Finest poll was designed in collaboration with the DC Comics Collected Editions department to let the community have a voice in the upcoming DC Finest volume ranges and new title lines. The poll has two halves: most wanted new DC Finest volume ranges, most wanted new DC Finest title lines.
Yes, that's true. We did things a little bit different, unprecedented for this poll season. So
I want to throw out. Oh,
Go ahead.
can I? All right. So I want to throw out some special thanks. You heard us say some of these if you were here for the announcement of this poll. This has been a massive undertaking. We've been working behind the scenes on it literally since January. The conversation began. Obviously, Dom has put in just an absolutely astounding amount of effort, especially with the announcement slides and all the information underlying the poll. But we have to thanks to all the DC Collected Editions team, Dustin, Donovan, Alex, who have been with us this whole time, who have advised us, who have given us information that we would have been just guessing about when we set up the poll. It is so appreciated, and it was such an awesome process to work with them. I have to personally thank Joey Hines and Charlie Pote, who host the invaluable DC Finest mapping sheet, which has mapped out many of the lines beyond what's been released, including all 90 volumes of Batman. We were not going to be able to offer some of the information we have for you today without their work. Also, Curtis, who's not here with us today, who helped us with the announcement, did a lot of proofreading behind the scenes, and his Facebook group, the DC Finest, collecting and speculating the new line of books. You can go and join that today if you're still on Facebook. And now that we are at results, we have to give a massive, massive thanks to the near mint condition poll master, Jim, who many of you know as BFF Nut. His auditing edits are Herculean. He turned this around in a matter of hours, knowing how tight the deadline for the poll is and how many slides we had to do. And this would not be doable, nor would it be fun without Jim.
Making it so much easier to vote, I swear. Eisner nominated.
I forgot, I'm sorry, I didn't say Eisner nominated announcement co-host Curtis Findlay.
Well, that's okay. That's what he gets for skipping the show today. Let's move on to before we begin. Dom, what is this?
Omar. Tell him to them straight.
Dom, I'll let you go ahead and do it so I can get the next slide.
Yeah,
can you see it, Dom?
I can see it. Again, okay. DC has not announced any of these books. These are not official mappings. This isn't them saying, oh my gosh, look at the top 30. These are totally the top 30 books that we are going to be printing for the next 2 years. They did not collaborate with us on these results. These are of the work of Near Mint Condition, all opinions, and everything else associated with Omar Valdivieso here today.
Whoa. I didn't know I was going to get doxxed. Thank you for that, though. That was really good.
Well, I mean, you said you wanted a Wikipedia page. You might as well start out with something fresh.
No, I only wanted one because Lars has one. Okay, let's.
Mine is ridiculous.
Let's move on. So the DC Finest Most Wanted volumes is how we are going to start. These are the volumes that have already existed, and you all are voting for future volumes. So let's go ahead and wait till you see this. This is so cool. Coming in at number 30 is Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, Silver Age, Bronze Age, and Post Crisis. I forgot to ask you this before we went live. Did you choose the covers, Crisis?
I did choose the covers. Yes.
Did no one have any say in the covers?
No one had any say in the covers because I was doing this until about 7 a.m. this morning.
I thought for a minute to email you like, hey, could you change the cover in these 30 slides really quick? Because I think these covers are superior. But then I was like, he's probably not slept that much, so I just let him be. So yeah, Batgirl is what you all voted for. It's the Barbara Gordon Silver Age, Bronze Age, and post-crisis 1967 to 1998. On the right-hand side, you'll see how this is mapped, kind of mirroring the Bronze Age omnibus that they did. And it would be about 2 to 3 DC Finest volumes because Batgirl didn't really have a series. Barbara Gordon didn't have a ongoing series. She had a couple one-shots, and she mainly appeared in a lot of the backup stories. So no Oracle in here, just Batgirl.
Well, we'll see about that because there's an interesting crossover, of course, after The Killing Joke, where Barbara Gordon is still around and does get some solo stories, both reflecting things that she did before Killing Joke and also just as Oracle, but before Birds of Prey. So this is what we meant where we said DC hasn't vetted the results. We only know that this is one of the eras that they would possibly address with the DC Finest. It could be that this has some Batgirl as Oracle content before she gets adopted by Birds of Prey. It could be that anything with Barbara Gordon as Oracle immediately is Birds of Prey material. We don't know that. Now, the 2 Bronze Age omnibuses of Batgirl are each about a DC Finest long. Bronze Age omnibuses used to be pretty tiny. So that's why this could be 2 volumes if it really just collects exactly those. But there's certainly the chance that it could have Killing Joke in it, and it should very obviously have this Batgirl special. So maybe there's a chance there's some Oracle material too, and it pushes it to 3 volumes. This isn't a mapping show, but we tried to give you the material here on the side so that you could get excited about these lines and maybe go and do some reading on DC Infinite or DC Universe Infinite if you would like.
The only reason to why I'm excited, if they ever manage to print this material out, would be to see Congresswoman Babs in printed format in this DC Finest. Nobody ever talks about, I feel like, that era as much, but I remember talking about this with a friend of mine who said that he really wanted Tom King to write Congresswoman Babs in a 12-issue series, so might as well get it out sooner than later.
I'm curious if they would put in Batgirl Year 1 in these. We haven't seen any of that yet, have we, at DC?
And that's so interesting because if they put it out in publishing order, it'll be in the Cassandra Cain line because that's while she's in charge of being Batgirl. And the DC Finest have not really significantly broke publication order yet. But like, I think personally, I would want to read Year 1 in a Barbara Gordon focused book. And we just haven't had that kind of crossover yet. And one of the title lines where the titular character is several different characters like Flash or Blue Beetle, where there's been like material for one of an earlier characters in a later volume. We just haven't had that happen yet.
It reminds me of the way that Marvel mapped that Wolverine Omnibus Volume 1 by putting Weapon X in that omnibus, even though it wasn't published until years later. But I am curious to see if they would do that. Yeah, I love that. By the way, love that cover. Good choice for a cover.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I love the Mignola cover. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one.
One of the nicer things about some DC Finest is how much ground you can cover with a particular character. I mean, like the Peacemaker one was awesome because it had almost 30 years of material in there. And that's all the Peacemaker.
Yep.
Batgirl is kind of the same way. It's like you could split this up, but you're still covering a lot of years very effectively.
So people are saying they might put it in a Cass DC Finest. I am curious to see how the talks would go with that. Coming in at number 29 is Plastic Man, The Golden Age. Very cool that this made it in the top 30.
Yeah.
We've had one so far, and this would be, let me see, volumes after the origin of Plastic Man. So consisting 3 to 5 more DC Finest. I know I didn't vote for this, but it's really cool to see a lot of people wanting this because this material hasn't really been available in any kind of format before. And that first one was just a taste of what Plastic Man was like, those particular stories. I voted for this. I haven't heard of Plastic Man until now.
What? It's been a DC staple for the last...
You need to go read Plastic Man No More if you're down for some horror.
Or if you want good comedy.
Vanessa might dig that.
I feel like my first exposure to Plastic Man was that cartoon. That they did in the 70s, and I think which had Plastic Baby, which was even stranger. It is pretty delightfully goofy fun.
Oh, you're new to comics. That's okay. We're not
Oh,
here
okay.
to gatekeep.
Yeah.
We're just
Yeah,
letting
not
you
at
know.
all.
But he plays a big part in JLA. Like Grant Morrison brought him back in the JLA in a more serious type of way.
Most people in my generation know him as the person who used himself as a dress to cover up Big Barda in that one Mark Waid issue.
Yeah, Vanessa,
It-
we're
it's-
not judging you for not knowing who he is. We're excited for you to get to discover him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And the cool thing here, which I did not know, I mean, Vanessa, I've literally never read a Plastic Man issue because I'm not a big DC head like these other 4 people. So, like, that DC Finest was the first time Plastic Man ever arrived in my house since I had the toy with the long neck in the 80s. And the thing that I discovered in researching this is look at his content. He has as much material in the Golden Age just about as Wonder Woman because he's anchoring 2 series at once. Wonder Woman was in Sensation Comics and in Wonder Woman. So, like, he, she runs a little bit longer. I don't know, actually, she only runs for like 2 years longer in the Golden Age. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of volumes of Golden Age Plastic Man. And unlike Wonder Woman, who has a Golden Age omnibus line, Plastic Man, once we get past the little bit that's ever been covered before, this is all going to be unbroken ground. So it's really exciting to see it in the top 30 because I think, I mean, I'm excited for all of these books that could touch the Golden Age. I think it's important history and it's just charming stuff. This series is fun for me so far to read because it's like, it's got the clean-linedness that I love Shazam, Captain Marvel for, but it's also like deeply, deeply silly in a way that not a lot of DC Golden Age is. And I just think it's a great combination.
It has
really
more Looney Tunes energy than any other DC character.
That's a very good way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah, they did a recent Black Label series, which I mean, it was it was well done, but it's like, well, how much body horror can we cram in here?
I only suggest to people who would like body horror. It's like that's one of the main ones for me.
Yeah, weirdly, if you like body horror, great. If you like Plastic Man, maybe stay away. But, yeah.
What he's saying is that
you
should get the first volume that came out, man, almost 2 years ago. If you like very early comedy, I would definitely suggest picking it up.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to move on to number 28.
Okay.
Catwoman. This is following up on the Jim Ballant era of Catwoman, which he stuck around for a long time. And this would be after the Creatures of the Night. Tessa, you would know this. After Catwoman, Jim Ballant went on to do his own thing, right? With that,
he did a lot of what was it, like tarot and stuff?
Tarot, that's it. Yes. That was, I remember I live in a small town, and that was the #1 selling comic book in this small town.
What?
I know, dude. That was like, it's outselling X-Men. It's outselling Batman. It was.
You mean like back in the day when he first launched it?
Like I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but
it comes out occasionally. Sometimes. Yeah.
For the first couple of years, I remember like the store owner was like, "Yeah, they come out with 2," because I think each issue had 2 covers, and super sexy Jim Ballant. I think it was full blown like.
Oh yeah, he draws a lot of stuff in that one, and also they have cosplayers and stuff, and people. So like they put people in the book, and that gets people more excited because they want to get in the issue.
So I had never read it, and I'm not judging. I just thought that was the like immediately after this is where he decided to do a lot of the like creator owned stuff. But
Jim Ballant is a local at one of my shops.
Oh.
He and Holly come in all the time.
Well, then you probably know more about tarot than I didn't know it's still ongoing, for example. But this is the way, like the content that might be in this book, and this would mean that it would be the first time it's collected, because the Catwoman line, unfortunately, twice died, and because the DC Finest line is so successful, I think it will probably continue with it.
It definitely
there's already 2 on the oh god, please.
No, sorry. No, I was just gonna say I was at a convention one time, and one Uber fan had every single issue of Catwoman that Ballant had done, and was getting him to autograph every single issue. And you're like, man, that's a lot of issues.
That's crazy.
So yeah, people really like it.
I own every single issue that will be in this DC Finest line. Catwoman's one of my big favorites. I have them as singles because, as Omar said, they were never collected before. I've been really impressed. Within less than 3 years, DC has announced 3 volumes for this, and we should only need 2 more to get to the end of this. We're only talking about 54 to 94, which is 40-some issues, but then there's a lot of miniseries and things that happen before we make the switch over to the Ed Brubaker era, which is very well collected. So it's exciting to get to that, but that's a separate era on the poll. People were here voting specifically to finish out this Catwoman era that concludes before Brubaker's run begins.
And that's almost like a different take on Catwoman. Still the same character in the same continuity.
And the thing that I always say about this run that makes me love it is I think she is a very quick-witted character. There should be a little bit of campiness to it. I think it's fine for her to be a little bit sexy and for the male characters to be a little bit sexy too. It's just one of those titles. It should kind of be like Nightwing in that way. And as much as I like sophisticated Selena Kyle, and I think there's a huge place for that, I do like her pulling heists and hanging off the sides of buildings and, flirting with people when she steals their watch because it has a secret key in it to get to the room with the safe. Like, to me, that's what Catwoman is. And so that's why I will always have a special place in my heart for the Ballant run.
I do really like that. I feel like with the Teenie Howard run, they kind of touched back on just like, yeah, it's okay. She can be hot and the men can be hot. And like Valorant was very hot in that. And I feel like it was going back to some of her roots and she was just not gentle with the character. So I do like kind of how we returned to the roots a little bit. I felt like there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm like, why is Nightwing the only book where everybody's allowed to be hot? Catwoman should also be a book where everybody's allowed to be hot.
I'm okay with that.
I'm personally okay if Catwoman is hot. Just so you guys know, I'm alright with that. Yeah.
You're okay. Awesome. I'm glad we cleared that up.
well, in fact, we briefly had a Wizard World here in Des Moines, and year 3 they started to run out of money, and they started to source local talent a lot. So they pooled our local, aerial and burlesque community, but they kept stressing this is a family show. This is a family show. There will be children here. This is a family show. And my girlfriend at the time, she decided to come out as Catwoman, and like she had the Michelle Pfeiffer mask and the platform boots and this shredded outfit and a whip. And she came out from behind the curtain, and I kind of went, "Whoa!" Because I was like, I said, I'm sorry, I hadn't seen the full ensemble all at once. They breached the family show line there quite a lot. So
it's pretty smooth, Lars.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was a good reaction. Okay. We are moving on to number 27, and that is Batman, the late 2000s.
Okay.
What makes this run so much needed that it needs to be in the top 30, Dom?
Because for the first time ever, we're going to see Batman go global while Dick Grayson is fighting off some demons in Black Mirror, Omar. Intertwined together in ways that we've never seen combined, right? We've had them in separate absolutes, omnibuses of certain creators. We've never had it all in one. Imagine you're reading Heart of Hush, and then the next thing you're seeing Batman fall down on himself in Rotten Purgatory. I can't wait for this whenever they decide to map it out, to come out. And I'm really glad that it ended up in the top 30.
Fascinating, because most of this has been collected, hasn't it?
A lot of it has been collected. Now, granted, we don't have like the Judd Winnick stuff, the David Hines Batman and Robin stuff. There's a lot of like Batman, which wasn't written by Dini, Morrison, and Snyder in this era that hasn't been collected. But listen, man, if I get to see Gates of Gotham like up next to my my Black Mirror in one trade paperback, I'm going to be there 100% signed up for it.
Yeah, I find that I am totally ignorant of everything else that was happening around Marson, because I've read Marson several times and like I'm aware of the other stuff, but because Marson is so singular, and especially when you're reading it in the order that the omnibuses have it in, it's almost obviously time is passing because not all of the series are happening 1 minute after the other. But I just am like really fascinated by the idea of actually integrating it. And I think whenever DC actually gets around to do this, who knows if this will trigger them to do it any sooner. I mean, they have the Marson stuff in print in a variety of formats. I am really, really excited to read it because I love this period. I love Dick Bats. I mean, I love Damian. I really love everything about it. And so the idea that there's more of it and that I mean, I guess I could use one of my reading guides and figure it out, but just do it for me, DC.
What they're saying is that we need Tony S. Daniel Batman all in one. They're fleshed out in beautiful print, which we haven't had that.
I think most of it has been collected in different trade paperbacks, but it's been a nightmare to try to get, especially if you're now getting into collected editions, because they're so out of print and they've only had one print run, unless it's Morrison and unless it's Dini. But like the Judd Winnick stuff is long gone. hell, I think even the Neil Gaiman, Whatever Happened to the Kid Crusader, is out of print as of now. But you know, I think it would be so awesome to finally get it collected like this. Have Detective and Batman going at the same time.
I mean, it's not a mapping show, but the mapping makes a big difference because could an argument not be made for separating the titles?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, Lars. Is like you got Detective, you got Batman, you've got Batman and Robin, you got Streets of Gotham, and then you've got like other titular series, one shots that could be all thrown in here. You could even throw in Final Crisis issue number 6 if you want to be that completionist, which I would. But I mean, that's a lot of books. Yeah.
I wanted
to... that likely content is not exhaustive for the anytime, you know, for Batman. It's like, what are we going to hunt down every single Batman appearance? The box would be at like a font size 2. So we just kind of use Detective and Batman here to be like your wayfinding guide, and also Batman and Robin because it runs in this period. But like we've already seen, they're not going to separate shit. Like DC has gone on the record to say the Batman line is the Batman line, and other than potentially Legends of the Dark Knight or anything else that's not contemporaneous to modern day Batman, it will go into the main Batman line.
I just wanted to point out, I see some people in the
they know what's up. They know what's up.
No, they do not. I see some people in the chat talking about Batman. Yes, he's a very popular character. And yes, you will probably see a lot of Batman on this list. Every time we do these, you know, we need to remind people that this is what you all voted for, and it's what the majority voted for. So, and that's what DC is interested in, of course. And of course,
over 3,000 voters, by the way, just as big as
just for DC Finest, which is crazy. That's a lot. So, thank you all for voting. But yeah,
the people running DC are like Caesar. Give the people what they want.
Yeah. So, you know, don't be surprised if there's a lot of Batman in here. So if you like Batman, you're in for a treat. If you're like, oh man, where's my Ray from Joe Quesada like me? Probably not. All right, let's move on to a non-Batman book.
Yes.
Okay. Number 26, Teen Titans. This was
got me into comics.
Awesome.
Really? Yeah. Do tell.
I was just really enamored with this team. Big Wolfman Perez person. It was like this, and right before Robin became Nightwing, like that era, and that's what was cluing me in. I did a little bit of Flash at the time too, but I wasn't like allowed to read comics really when I was a kid. So this was my drug of choice.
Nice.
I've got a bunch of issues behind me. I've got a first Beast Boy behind me. Yeah.
I love this run. This run is up there for me with, I mean, it's almost as good as Uncanny X-Men by Claremont. But
I agree, Omar. Uncanny X-Men is almost as good as this.
Does that mean you're a big fan of the crossover they did?
Am I a huge fan? Oh my god, yes. You throw Walter Simonson in, the freaking Dark Phoenix. Oh god, I love that crossover. Yes, it's one of my favorites.
It's one of the very best, if not the best. Yeah.
Yeah, Wolfman and Perez working on this book was just so good. And I mean, Wolfman stayed on the book for a long time.
Up until 1995, Omar.
I mean, Perez just flat out said the creator he enjoyed working with the very most was Marv Wolfman. All due respect to all the other people he worked with, but Marv was his favorite, and it shows. It shows.
Oh yeah, because anytime Marv was like, "Hey, you want to come back and do this?" Yeah. Like, we got a new graphic novel, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." It definitely does show. Yeah, Wolfman was awesome in this. And not everything was a hit, you know, especially after Perez left, but there was still some great material in there. And hell yeah, New Warriors Forever. That's right, baby.
They complement each other very well. I mean, I might have expected that I remember the drug storyline, the runaway storyline, I should say, had a big impact on me when I was growing up. And given Perez's humanitarian approach to this, I might have expected that to come from George, but it came from Marv. He said that was actually Marv's idea.
It impacted you? Like, don't do drugs?
No, it was just it rendered clear the consequences of bad decisions. You know, It rendered clear the consequences of running away. What can happen to you? There was, what can happen if you do drugs as well. Because in that, teenagers die in that one.
That was the big arc. Yeah, I remember.
It treated the audience with a lot of intelligence, and it made clear that, like, okay, you're a young person, but the decisions you make are important.
What's really interesting to me about this placement is I kind of expected it to go the other way, and people did. I had a feeling Titans would show up in the top. They're very popular, but I kind of was surprised to see this one be the first
Thought it was
Titans
gonna
on
be
the
Jeff Johns?
list. And no, I was going to say instead of the stuff that comes after this, because this is just one volume. I mean, this is
you're right.
literally just the first Wolfman volume, because the ones that we got so far are like 2 basically.
Yeah.
And so of Wolfman. So I just was, it's interesting that one of the things that I think we learned throughout the results, and you would have seen it already with the last one being Batman and this being Titans, is that people are willing to vote for wildly well collected material here because they won it in DC Finest and they love DC Finest. So a lot of people in the chat are like, yeah, but I've got trades. But like people like me who are newer to DC don't have trades. And even people with the trades are like, I want that uniform shelf. Give it to me. So It's really funny to see things. I mean, this has been collected at least 3 times extraordinarily well. And here it is in the top 30.
Well, I have the DC Archive editions. I mean, yeah.
4 times then.
Yeah. I mean, I don't quite know why they did 3, 2, 1. I know that DC Finance doesn't go in order, and they probably wanted to open with the Judas contract.
The Finest
3, 2, 1 is a little strange, but they'll get there eventually.
The Finest also is mapped a little bit different than the Omnibus. They added material that was not.
Yeah, they have the drug awareness specials, which are not in the Omnibus.
Right.
I don't know if you knew that or not, Lars.
Yeah. Wait, are you trying to make me buy it again?
Yes, we are trying to make you buy it again because it's not in the
Might as
Omni.
well at this point.
Yeah, thank you, Tessa. You might as well at this point.
5 times.
Well, actually, I mean,
do you even like Teen Titans, Lars? If you don't own it in Finest,
no, I'm like you, Omar. I think this is nearly but not quite X-Men levels in my heart.
Oh, absolutely.
But honestly, the drug awareness issues, I didn't bother getting them because I took a look through them. I'm like, well, these are aimed at kids. And I'm at that, I don't have any interest in reading material for children.
Yeah, but George Lucas also said that Star Wars is made for children. So,
well, I mean, he's kind of wrong in that it's all ages. But yeah,
Man, we're all reading picture books, all right?
Well, yeah.
What? This is literature.
I think especially having read, it was weird on the heels of that Runaway storyline where again it's intense. There's drugs, kids get shot. Then here's this kind of goofy thing aimed at children that says, "Oh, don't do drugs," which is perfectly fine. I respect them putting it out, but I had no interest in it.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to a book that may not have had a drug awareness issue, or maybe it did. Let's find out if it's a Bat book or not, though. Oh, look at that! It's not Triangle Era. Hell yes. We got it in omnibus format. Why not have it in DC Finest? So this will come after the Time and Time Again. Dom, remind people why it's called the Triangle Era, please.
Because on the top of all of these issues, there was a triangle on it that designated which specific part of the month that you are reading these things in. And they did that for Superman, Action Comics, Adventures of Superman, and 2B, Man of Steel. All 4 into 1 because the Superman office at the time was so heavily intertwined and interconnected in itself that they wanted you to have the best reading experience for the Man of Steel.
That worked so damn well, too, back in the day.
Yes.
I don't know about towards the end because I was out of comics when the Triangle Era ended, and it stayed for a long time. Up until past City of Tomorrow and all that. But I wonder why Marvel never took that idea to X-Men. Why they didn't do X, the X years, or where you have to go and buy Generation X or X-Man. The books that weren't selling as much as Uncanny. Why they never did that? Or Spider-Man. We could have done that with Spider-Man.
Oh my gosh, yes.
When they had 4 titles, when it was huge.
The triangle worked brilliantly. It was perhaps a tacit acknowledgement of how hard it was to keep track without it. But yeah, it was a great idea.
I mean, there were times as a reader, you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. I didn't need to read that issue of Action Comics to understand what the hell is going on in Adventures.
Yeah, that's the problem. You might wind up buying stuff you don't actually need, but yeah.
That's
But it
what
was-
they did really well during the Krakoa era, Omar, was, you go on the back of the book, you see, oh, there's issues coming out from every single one of the other X-Men titles. Okay, I'll go see and pick those up.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you have a really great group editor, right? It's like, hey, this is the reading order or my suggested reading order, and it really helps out the reader. And I wish more titles would have done that and would do that these days.
Yeah. So someone in the feed mentioned Spider-Man would really have benefited from this sort of approach. It's like, yeah, it would have. Yeah.
We're talking about all these Marvel books for some reason on DC stream. I think the thing that's really fascinating for me about this Superman run is not only that it had the triangle numbers and that it was editorially coordinated, but he's just one character. Like at points, there's a little bit of a family around him in this. I mean, Lois has things to do. Some of the Reign of Superman people stick around until they get their own books. But each of these books did kind of have like a feel and an identity, even though they would be handing off to each other week to week. Basically, it was a weekly title because there were 4 titles, sometimes 5 running in at any given time. And like more so than it just being a line like an X-Men line or a Spider-Man line, it was like a line all about Superman that just felt incredibly consistent and told a story that was like the Superman story for a decade. Not even Batman has ever really done that. So it doesn't surprise me at all that people who are now discovering Triangle via the omnibuses are like voracious for it, because it's just so fun to dip your toe into anywhere, because it's I don't know that anybody at Marvel or DC or Valiant or Image or anywhere has ever coordinated this many comics this well for this long. Triangle is like a historical feat.
Yeah. You may just hit on why it worked so well, because, trying to do this for X-Men and roping in all the spin-off series would quickly get irritating, because eventually be like, but I don't want to buy X-Men. But yeah, here
you're going to buy it and you're going to like it, Lars.
But I guess to Crisis's point, and maybe somewhat looking at the previous Batman volume that we just talked about from 2006 2011, some of these volumes, as the further you move on, are going to go smaller in the months that they cover, just because of how many of these issues that they were pushing out every single month. So I have no idea how many. Well, I mean, they have an idea of how many volumes, but it's going to be a big task to get all of what we have in the 3 omnibuses and more to come, hopefully, of the Triangle era into the DC Finest format line.
Yes, more Triangle era, please. A lot of that stuff that after as of Volume 3 has never been collected in any kind of format. Give me that blue Lightning Superman, baby. That shitty Superman with red lightning Superman and blue lightning. Oh my god, I can't wait.
We'll give him the Silver Age version of it.
No, not that.
Yes, we will. Let's move on to the next slide, Omar.
Oh hell yes! This is the first one I voted for that made it on the list. Green Arrow, Connor Hawk era, baby. Nice. Speaking of things that have never been, even as I was saying it, I thought it was too far too, man. I need to pull back some, but I can't stop. I'm halfway there, so I might as well go all in. This is the Connor Hawk era. This is the stuff that follows Mike Grell. It's when Chuck Dixon took over the book, and then something happens to Ollie. He gets pretty much taken off the table. So now it's Connor Hawk. His son that he barely got to know is now the new Green Arrow. And both him and Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, would end up joining the JLA. Yeah.
All this era of Chuck Dixon was my crack when I was younger. I loved all of this so much.
God bless you, Tessa. It was so good. I agree. It was so good, man. And this stuff never been collected. Like not a single trade paper. We were gonna get one. I think it's where Eagles were Eagles there. I can't remember the name of the story to issue 100, but it was gonna be a collection, and then it got canceled. We did get the Connor Hawk limited series, but I think that's the only thing that's been available in trade paperback outside of the crossovers with Green Lantern. But yeah, this was so good, highly underrated, and went on for a lot longer than people remember. I mean, it went all the way to issue 137 before we got Kevin Smith writing the Green Arrow Quiver story.
What sucks about this era in particular is that
that's not how you start a sentence.
No, but it's true. None of the era has been on DC Universe Infinite. There are like scattershot issues, but none of it. None of it has been digitized. I remember
even getting covers for this was a pain.
That is odd.
It sucks because like I have a friend who is a little bit older than me, has every single one of these issues of this era, and he is so mad that he cannot read it in any other different format. So having this all nicely put out, I assume the restoration work will have to be massive for a project of this undertaking.
Quite possibly.
That being said, it will be really nice to have it in this format whenever they decide to digitize it and remaster it. Whatever restoration work needs to be happened, whatever needs to be done, do it all, DC. Do it.
I didn't actually look. I've read all the 80 issues of Mike Grell on DC Infinite, but
once you get past that, it's dead era until Kevin Smith gets on the book.
They are just now starting to put DC Finest on digital, so maybe if they do this, they can put it on digital. Let's see. On a scale 1 to 10, what is your opinion on Shadow Dragon from Superman 90s comics? You think he should have been in the Absolute Universe teaching martial arts? I'm going to go with 6 out of 10 because you seem to really like Shadow Dragon. And I don't want to make you mad by saying a 4 out of 10. So I'm going to go with 6. Lars, you're used to making people mad. What would you say?
I don't know that I have an opinion on that.
That might have been the answer I should have gone for, but for some reason I like
Shadow Dragon from I don't really have an opinion.
Absolute version of him though. Tim Drake on the cover, sold. Oh, that's all it takes. That's right. It's a great era. Not collected well at all though.
Or digitized.
Or digitally. All right. Any other thoughts on this before I move on to number 23?
Go for it.
That is a no. Okay.
LeBron James, let's go.
Not a Batman book. Finally, rolling my eyes. Westerns featuring Jonah Hex, 1972 and on. And this is stuff that definitely needs restoration.
Well, and there's a ton of it.
Yes, there is.
Good Lord.
Especially if you throw in a lot of, everything like Jonah Hex, the weird Western tales, everything. But I'm glad that people voted for this. It's up there. It's 23.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's so high.
It was one of those books that I think DC was trying out. Well, let's see if people, like the horror DC Finest or this science fiction.
And it's hard to find many of the old Western books collected in any way, so I guess that makes sense.
Well, they put out a Western volume, didn't they?
They did, but I was surprised to see that some of the scans looked as well as they did for some material that has never been collected before, especially the Tomahawk issues, which I had no idea they even had some of those files on hand. But I mean, if you're looking at stuff before that, oh my gosh, that's a lot of work to put out.
Sure. But if anything Western related would sell, this would, I would think.
Right, I like the idea of it all under one umbrella. So it's not necessarily a Jonah Hex DC Finest, which would be really interesting to see if they map it all the way into the Palmiotti run. And then if this would be the DC Finest that they break the rule to collect the stuff from New 52, because that's the All-Star Western, which is the ending of the Palmiotti run. So I wonder how they would do that.
I think, as you said in our poll show, Omar, the opening, they're not even looking to get past 2011 with the exception of one of these series. So let's calm the brakes down a little bit on that and focus on the stuff before 2011, Omar.
Wow. Did you just tell me to slow down?
Yes.
You better buckle up, son. Wow. I just started. All right.
For Dom, that was like a torrent of profanity there. My God.
I didn't know where he was going with that. Are you going to agree with me?
Oh.
Okay. Well, and again, I think something really interesting is this book really just came out, the first Western one, and I think great timing for the poll because people are reading it and they're like, hold on, is this really good? I've seen message after message on the Curtis's Facebook group, on the DC Finest Reddit, that people are really enjoying the Western volume. So I think it's one of these uncovered gems that people are hitting just right as the poll was happening. And Jonah Hex is very uncollected after that first little bit of weird Western tales that he's in. So if, we asked specifically DC in the planning process, can we have a separate Jonah Hex line? And they said, no, Jonah Hex is in the Western line at this time. And so I think A, it's people like being really pleased with the first volume, and B, it's like, oh my gosh, do you think we could get more Jonah Hex? Even if this would take 9+ to get all the way to Flashpoint, even if we don't get all the way to Flashpoint, even if we just get to the 80s, it's going to collect a ton of uncollected Jonah Hex. And I think he occupies a similar space to Warlord in a way where like everybody, I think more people are aware of Jonah Hex than Warlord. He had a movie, but in terms of how inaccessible his early material is, and the way that Warlord has finally made it accessible because it's an omnibus and that means it's hitting DC Infinite Universe. I think that, you know, Jonah Hex and these, I can't get that name in the right order. I think Jonah Hex is having a similar moment.
Yeah, I mean, these stories are of their time, but they're a lot of fun. I mean, again, I'm the youngest Maverick fan in America, probably.
Not the Mel Gibson movie.
No, the TV show. I mean, the TV show.
James Garner, right?
Yep. So yeah, this would be quite interesting. I mean, in some ways, blending in the other heroes and stories would be perhaps more satisfying rather than just a pure.
Well, yeah, I mean that was what intrigued me to the Western line to begin with. It was like, oh, Billy the Kid, the American historical figure, was placed in a DC comic and has a fictional version of himself.
Well, yeah,
you know, like Jesse James. Like that stuff, like I never knew beforehand until like this was out. So that's why I would rather prefer it. You want to extend Western all the way out, like go do it.
Well, you read Crisis on Infinite Earths and you hit issue 3 and you're reminded just how many great Western characters DC had. I mean, it wasn't just Jonah Hex, but yeah.
Well, Marvel's the same way.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot of Marvel, and it went on for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd ever do epics of those. Okay, I'm gonna move on.
Millie the model.
Yeah.
Supergirl.
Oh,
please. My favorite Supergirl run. Again, one that unfortunately the 2 times they try to collect these in trade paperback.
Yeah, one more DC Finest would get a lot of issues that weren't collected.
Yeah, the next one would have a lot of issues that were not previously collected.
Yeah.
And this is a series that from beginning to end, I didn't think it dropped in quality. And yeah, I know that Gary Frank, you know, was there at the beginning, but even after he left the book, who was it? It
was Leonard Kirk. Leonard Kirk, aka the man who would go on to do X Factor.
And then went on, and then we got Ed Benes, like some post Artemis art towards the end. That last arc is some of the best it's some of the best DC comics. I love that last arc in this. So I hope they finish it out. I mean, obviously people voted enough for it.
I mean, DC fans can jump around, but there's certain things like this, Mike Grell's Green Arrow. You know, you just go to the end. Just go to the end. Fantastic. And people will thank you for it.
Tessa, were you a fan of this run?
I actually never finished it. When you were saying that was like one of your favorite arcs, I was like, I only read the beginning, maybe 2 arcs.
Mm-hmm.
I did quite enjoy it, but yeah, I never got to the end of this one.
Oh God, it was so good. It was so good that he kept.
This would be my chance.
He kept writing the character and made Fallen Angel. That needs to be collected, but I don't think that's up to DC. Very glad that made it up in the top 30. And I'm going to move on from Matrix to more Superman.
Oh, we got Exile, baby. Yeah. Let's go.
But this is the post-crisis, pre-Triangle era. Again, when you all voted, we broke it down by different eras, so it makes it easier for you all to vote. So this would be between the Man of Steel and Time Again. It would include more of the John Byrne stuff, but this is when Roger Stern started writing the stories. Jerry Ordway came on the book. Yeah, some great stuff in here.
I was gonna say, this I loved. This I devoured a long time ago.
And I think most of this has been collected in the hardcovers and, of course, the omnibus edition, with the exception... No, even the trade paperback. I forgot about that. The Action Weekly. Mm-hmm. That was released in a trade paperback. So I think, just looking at what we have here, and again, it's not a mapping show, I think most of this, with maybe a couple of exceptions of the one-shots, has been collected before.
I think even the one-shots are pulled out of the omnibus map. This is an example, again, where like hot material remains hot and finest, because this, obviously the John Byrne hardcovers are very hard to get at this point, and the first DC Finest that precedes this, the Man of Steel one, has some of that content. But, some of this is very readily available in Omnibus, and yet people still really want it pretty badly because it has a pretty good pedigree, and people just want a complete shelf of Finest, especially when DC, it really feels like, and I'm thinking about what you were all just saying about Supergirl in the last one, it feels like DC's kind of introducing chunks at a time. And since the volumes are not explicitly numbered like the Distinguished Competitions Epic Collections are, it kind of feels like, well, we've just got to get through this chunk. It's not about like as much filling in every number of everything. We need number 1, we need number 7. It's like, let's just get to the end of Supergirl. Let's just get to the end of John Byrne. Let's just get to the beginning of Triangle. And I think and it felt like that like excited people to vote. Like, ooh, there's an end in sight. Like based on the 9 books we've seen so far, almost all of them have kind of fit into that mode.
I think it's such a smart way they're doing it because it really scratches that kind of like collectory dragon hoardy itch that comic nerds naturally kind of have to be into all of it. I feel like it really gets us.
I think somebody was asking about, they did 3 worlds. Yes, they did World of Krypton, World of Smallville, and World of Metropolis.
Yeah.
None of that has been collected in any kind of format. Those 3 miniseries, I think those are the 3 miniseries that people are hoping that they are going to put into the Man of Steel Omni. I guess they would be in a volume 2.
But in terms of DC Finest, some of those might find a better home in the Superman family DC Finest line. So it'll be interesting to see how the Omnis and the Finest actually diverge a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, you're right, because I forgot there's that Superman family DC Finest. Damn.
How could you? Mr. Jimmy Olsen turns into an Ant Omar. Like,
oh, that's why I forgot. Yes, that's why I forgot. All right, moving on to the top 20. Here we go with the Flash, but not just the Flash, the Golden Age.
God, I would love to see this.
Same, Jay. I love Jay. Like, Wally was my Flash growing up, but the older I get, I don't know, man.
He wants to have a
really
old man.
Jay Garrick, man. He is such a freaking man's man. I love that dude.
Well, Jay's my favorite. Yeah.
This is the stuff that was in the 40s and 50s, so I don't know how much of that I have already read. I've read some of the Silver Age that's been available, but the Golden Age, outside of like the JSA All-Star, or some of the crossovers, like maybe a handful of like Flash issues from the Golden Age. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's see now. Was there one or how many DC archives were there of this? Was there any?
A Flash?
There was. Yeah, Flash.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't an archive guy.
Barely any, though. I mean, it ran forever.
Yeah, and sorry, those numbers in the top right escaped our entire fleet of proofreaders. Luckily, the years are on at several different places. So this is 1940 to 1950, not what is in the top.
I'm not sharing the slide.
Lars, there were 2 archives.
There were 2. I thought there were 2.
But according to DC.com/graphic novels, there were 6.
No. No, there weren't.
Our experts determined that was a lie. So the thing I'll point out about this is that we have never seen Golden Age material other than maybe I don't even think Shazam has done this well on the omnibus poll. So like, especially in paperbacks, it's like, gosh, it's going to take so much longer to get through than an omnibus. You would think that it would do worse. We've already seen Plastic Man in Golden Age here. Plastic Man at least had a first Golden Age DC Finest volume to kind of whet people's appetite. This is just cold. There's nothing adjacent to it. There's no first volume out. This is just people saying, oh my gosh, this is a living line where we literally could finally get this in print. And there's so many of these Golden Age characters outside of the Trinity and Green Arrow that have no Golden Age coverage in Omnibus really, and haven't had any Golden Age coverage since the archives, which at this point, some of which are 20 years old. I'm absolutely stunned to see this number 20. It was one of my votes. And for exactly that reason, because it feels like a line where DC actually might really do it. And so let's go.
There's a great line in Starman where the Shade is talking about how he kind of preferred fighting Jay over Barry. He's like, Barry Allen was a Boy Scout. But Jay was, just kind of, I forget the exact wording, but it's like elegant and strong and steadfast. And it's like, yeah, it's true. I have a bit, again, my father was in World War II, so I have a bit of affection for the World War II characters. And Jay kind of reminds me of him at times. But yeah, great stuff. I'd love to see it in DC Finest.
Pretty sure it was Sheldon Moldoff who drew this cover, Conrad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And a great point from Phil Owens. This is why this is not a mapping show. In the likely content box, you
yes,
just kind of
yes.
put the major stuff that's for this character, so you know directionally probably why it's so many volumes. There are clearly other things that we could kind of investigate and get in there, and the comic cavalcade stories are certainly some of those.
Let's do a map by Flash.
Map my
All right.
flash.
When are we doing
Flash
it?
my map.
No, I'm not flashing.
My flashed map?
Nope.
We're flashing?
Get that taken out of context. We're gonna move on to number 19. Superman.
Hey!
Superman. Superman, the Bronze Age.
Yeah.
This is the 1970s. This would be the volumes after Kryptonite Nevermore, going all the way into 1980. So, but 6 to 10, my goodness, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Bronze Age Superman. Some stuff in here by Cary Bates and Kurt Swan, who to a lot of people was the definitive Superman artist.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt.
Is that your favorite Superman artist, Lars?
I don't think he's my favorite, but I mean, again, there is something just reliably wonderful about Kurt Swan. He drew a lot of the Legion issues too, so I'm very acquainted with his work there.
Just had to sneak the Legion in there, didn't you?
I did. Well, he was a big part of the process. Kurt Swan was reliably great. Yeah.
The nice thing about getting these volumes, Omar, would be getting to see Alan Moore's Superman Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow in DC Finest alongside other Superman issues around the time. That would be super cool to have.
It surprises me that it ranked so high. I'll be honest. I think the Flash was a big surprise, and so was Superman.
I think this volume being higher than Flash is actually more of a surprise, because I could totally, because we haven't had too many Flash DC. I mean, we only had 1 or 2 DC Finest Flashes.
Mhm.
We've had a whole bunch of Superman, but I didn't expect there to be a very big inkling for stuff after Kryptonite Nevermore.
It shouldn't surprise me, but it still did. It shouldn't surprise me because it hasn't been collected. It's an era that fans have been craving for, whether it was nostalgia or whether they got into the character because of this era, but it hasn't been collected at all. So
Swan was admittedly not always great necessarily at motion. There's a certain degree to which his characters come across like elegant statues. It's just that his art was always so reliably beautiful, that I didn't mind them. Like Superman go to take a swing at Brainiac, and it's like he's standing there just with his fist in the air. But it was always lovely, absolutely lovely.
okay, so that was number 19. Let's move on to number 18, which is the Flash.
There we go.
There we go.
So, Wally West. This is the era that I loved reading as a kid. This is the post-Crisis on Infinite Earth. So after Crisis issue number 8, Barry Allen was taken off the table, and in came Kid Flash, and had to grow up really quick and become the Flash. Pretty cool, actually, if you think about that origin story, right? Like,
absolutely,
they killed off a character from the Silver Age. Wow.
Yeah, this one is way less surprising to me. This makes sense.
Like, man, and this actually.
I sort of wish he'd stayed dead.
I will say, if you've never read this era, like, he is such a jerk at first.
Well, he's being written by Mike Barron, and Barron tends to go in that direction. But yeah.
Oh man, dude, I just reread Nexus. It was phenomenal. Sure. Oh my god, it was so good. I forgot how good that was.
It is good. Yeah.
But Wally's just a jerk. Remember, like, he won the lottery in those first few issues.
He does win the lottery.
He's just throwing his money around at women. And then came in William Mester Loebs and took the run over before Mark Waid. So that's what.
Wasn't it revealed that his father was a manhunter?
During the what the hell was that book called? That
Millennium. That's part of the Millennium crossover.
Millennium. That's it.
I think he's right. Yep.
Yeah, I got a bit weird at times.
Yeah, it was the Flash.
Wait.
Yeah, and again, I much prefer Wally to Barry.
Yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't Invasion, Lars?
No, Millennium was where they had all the Manhunters, you know.
I'm
seeded.
going. Hold on. I'm gonna fact.
William Messer Loeb's run is seriously underrated. Yes, it was.
A sentence that is true about just about any William Messner Loeb run on any title, quite frankly.
Probably.
True. Wonder Woman and Thor. Nobody really talks about his Thor run because he came in after Warren Ellis.
That's right.
But this stuff was good.
Baron didn't necessarily fit the title too well, but you know, they were relaunching it and they wanted to go in a different direction, and it does that.
Now the question is to the panel, if they decide to use this poll results and they look at this, what Flash do you start with? Because we're looking at 1987 to 2000. Do you go with Wade?
Yeah, I'm good.
Or do you go with Mike Barron and then of course William Messer Loeb?
I'd start with the Born to Run volume personally.
I mean it's a sure bet. It's Wade. It's Flash. It's,
But, you know, Wade has been collected. I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah, but you saw some of the other choices here.
No, I know. I think it's probably Wade. Yeah.
You want it to sell and you want to get people.
Yeah, tough call, but I'd go with Mark Wade. Yeah.
And that's
What do you think,
the point
Tessa?
about all of these volumes that we've had on here. We tended to use one of the first images for the covers because they're just so iconic and widely recognized. But like, there's no guarantee that DC starts at the beginning of any of these, such as the DC Finest line. They could start in the middle, they could start at the end. We saw that with the Batman Red Skies, where they were like, surprise, we're at the end of the Bronze Age and we're just going to keep moving backwards maybe. So this could they could start the last Wade volume and move backwards. It could start with Wade and move forward from Wade and backwards from Wade, or it could start at the beginning of Baron. It's really interesting. I think the one kink in that is that of course there is one remaining hole in this in Omnibus, which is that second William Messner Loeb's run, which was in the top 10 on the Omnibus poll. So it's kind of like, you know, we've seen them release Finest and Omnibus in a similar frame before, but I don't think that they would put that out at the same time as an omnibus of it. So it's like, if you're going to put out an omnibus of that William Messner Loeb's second half of the run and it runs directly into Wade, then it would make sense at the same time to put out a DC Finest of Wade so that people could continue their read.
Yeah. Wade has been collected. I would love to see DC stats on how much the markets are separate, because I imagine there's going to be quite a lot of people buying DC Finest who have no interest whatsoever in paying $90, $100 a pop for omnibuses.
Well, 150 because the market
retail. That's the retail price. But yeah,
I would say at this moment I would use the what I would call the Marvel protocol and release the William Messner Loeb volume that was not collected in the omnibus. That takes place immediately after the first omnibus, so people could use it as either a placeholder, and then when the omnibus is announced, they're like, damn, I bought that already. Because I mean, that's what they did with, what was it, Iron Man? That was the very first Epic collection, The Final Threat. It was the volume that followed up the Michelini, Layton, and John Romita Jr. omnibus. So I don't know if DC would do that, but
see, I think Wade would be a great way to start, because as a retailer, I've been seeing like a lot of people utilizing the DC Finest as either like their first step into certain DC characters or DC books in general, or older books. And I feel like it's a great way to start.
Yeah. How many of the people buying DC Finest for you do you think are also omnibus collectors?
Not as many, honestly.
Not many. Well, that would make sense. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next volume that is not a Batman book, but it is a Blue Beetle.
Wow.
Ted Cord, baby.
Incredible.
Ted Cord, Bronze Age and post-crisis. Just give it to me. Again, this is DC. Ted Cord materials going to be a single DC Finest volume.
This is my favorite thing so far.
Very similar to what they did with the Peacemaker. Yeah. I'm glad that it made it. Man, it's in the top 20. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a 10, man. Look, great choice for a cover again, Crisis.
I mean, it's just so dynamic. And, you know, aside from being a Blue Beetle fan, of course, if you also know the Watchmen connection, it can't help but evoke that a little bit as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, that, but I think, you know, Ted Cord's popularity in Justice League International really has helped him here. Because, you know, this only lasted 24 issues. This was not what you call a massive
and it ends with like the Millennium stuff too.
Yes.
With the Millennium stuff, you're right. Yeah. But it'd be good to see.
Surprised that
And again, I think this is people like responding to the idea of let's like close some things out. Would it be nice to have this in omnibus? Absolutely, it would. But we already have that first Charlton era Blue Beetle DC Finest, which is actually one of the smaller DC Finests. And then this one is a chance to just knock out a whole era, especially because I checked in with DC. I'm like, are you sure only one volume? If you remember voting in the poll, it said a volume following the existing Blue Beetle volume. So, and yeah, because there's plenty of room for all this Ted Kord stuff. And then we'd be all the way into the 2000s with the next Blue Beetle.
I know, we're gonna have a DC Finest ending in blood splatter, which is what this book is.
There haven't been any Blue Beetle omnibuses that I can recall, so this is a title that might benefit from being just cheap and dirty. It's like, here you go, you know, DC Finest.
Speaking of cheap and dirty, apparently there was a released as a showcase present.
Yeah, that is true, but of course it was black and white. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. That's why I didn't get it, because it wasn't black and white. Let's move on to another book. Number 16 is Swamp Thing.
Oh, great cover choice. I love that issue so much.
That is a good issue.
A good issue.
This will consist of, well, if we're looking at the Alan Moore era, which is the way that you all voted for, 2 DC Finest volumes, right? Would that be right? 3? Yeah. 2. But it would have to be mapped a little bit different. And you know what? It's on a mapping show. Sorry about that. That's on me, Crisis. Almost made this into a mapping show. But I assume people voted for this with original colors in mind, because that is
I mean, we didn't specify, but I think Omar, actually, you're actually pretty knowledgeable about this. How have the DC Finest handled things that have been recolored so far? Because I think both Batman Year 1 and Year 2 have been subtly recolored, and so is The Killing Joke in other formats. What colors did the DC Finest pick up of those?
So I think with Year 2 they used the deluxe colors. With Year 1 they used the traditional classic colors, and I think some of that is due to the artists. I believe they actually talk to the artists or the writers about this, so it's really amazing, just the collected editions department at DC taking into consideration what the creators want. It's not just what they think will look better, but also if, of course, the creators are still with us. So in the case of, Batman Year 1, Year 2, it's a really interesting choice to go with the classic colors for Year 1 and then Year 2 using the deluxe colors. But I think for this, they would have to go back to the original colors, right? Make them a little bit different than what the absolute editions are. Make them more like the colors that are in the standard size hardcovers.
Yeah. Now I want to point out that on the poll there is one volume that follows the announced Swamp Thing Finest, and that is before Alan Moore, and that was a separate option on the poll. So that is not this. This is the Alan Moore run. There's kind of no way to math your way out of it being 2 volumes unless for some reason they stuffed a whole lot of other stuff in that as well. But even if they did, the Alan Moore run itself is really only like in the 50 issue range in total if you include the annual and the DC Comics Presents. So like it's 2 volumes, and there is some room for some other swampy stuff in there, and it's really hard to picture it going to 3.
Oh yeah, I think 2 is it.
Yeah.
What is there left to be said about Alan Moore Swamp Thing? It is game changing, that's for sure. Okay. Wait, you've read this, right, Dom?
I read the first. Somebody gave me the first hardcover back a couple of years ago, and I really enjoyed it.
Not the absolute, the standard.
No, the standard size hardcover.
Oh, so you haven't finished it? Cool, man.
I haven't been checking how much the trades are in print. I mean, this is the sort of thing that again you want available more economically.
The box set, I believe, is out of print, but the trades, I don't know.
The trades are fine. I've been ordering them. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
okay. They are in print. Okay. Well, if the trades are in print, there'll just be some repackaging. But yeah.
Hey, Tim Truman, let's go.
Okay.
Number 15.
My number 1 vote on the poll. This is my top of my ballot.
This is a big deal. This is stuff that has not been collected outside of Hawk World, the miniseries, the original miniseries. I don't think anything else in here has been collected in any kind of format.
No, I don't think so.
That is crazy. But number 15, that is a lot of votes for this era.
Based on the chitter chatter in this channel, I just started reading this on DC Infinite.
Well, you got like
how are you liking it, Lars?
I mean, I'm getting into it. I mean, the thing is, early on, Keitaro and I'm mispronouncing their names, Hawkman and Hawkgirl, they're kind of dicks up front. So you got to get she in particular is quite horrible in a way, very bigoted. But I'm imagining I'm imagining it gets smoother as it goes along.
Well, it's a whole different world. It's a Hawk world.
Well, no, exactly. Yeah.
So this is another case.
I'm getting through it. Yeah.
Okay. So as a fan of Leave No Issue Behind and of Give Me Things I Haven't Seen in Collected Editions, I would love for this era to kick it off. I wonder if they would do like the what's it called, the Jeff Johns stuff first, or just give
the
us.
fans have spoken and they want this, baby. At least unless that one's higher on the poll than this is. 15's pretty high for Hawkman.
That's crazy, yeah.
That is nuts.
And the great thing about this is there's options even within this. They don't have to start with Hawkworld. I mean, granted, Hawkworld it's weird. It's a little strange.
Yeah.
But, as of issue, I forget if it's issue 4 or 6 or 7 of that 1993 series, Ostrander steps away from the Hawkworld themes. And who do we find? But somebody that we've been talking up a lot on the stream so far, William Messner-Loeb's taking over. And so DC actually could just start there with something that's more traditionally Hawky. And then go back for the preceding Hawk world to kind of fill in what happened just before. So this gives them a lot of range. It's probably 3 volumes. It would be a little bit of a stretch to get this into 2 because they would be over 30 issues each. But it doesn't have to be a hard split right before Hawk World because there is the Jenny Blake Isabella stuff that's actually pretty good in the 80s right before this. So this maybe it could be like broken up a little differently. But in terms of swaths of material you could vote on the poll, the Jeff Johns stuff that's after this was separate on the poll, and the Jenny Blake Isabella stuff that was before this was separate on the poll as well.
Crisis, I adore you being like, I'm not really like a big DC head, and then you whip out all your opinions on Hawkman and Hawkworld.
Fun story, Tessa. I got hawk-pilled last year on the DC Omnibus stream because people were yelling that they wanted Hawkworld. Why didn't I title the omnibus the Hawkworld? And I was like, what are you like punking me? With DC, I never know, because with Marvel you cannot get one over on me unless it's like Team America. On DC, I truly don't know if somebody's making something up or not. And so I had to like go into the stacks and like go and research, and then I kind of just fell in love. It's just so weird and like not the normal DC book, because it was all, even with Crisis resetting everything, it was like, well, we still don't know what to do with Hawkman. And I just love that. To me, that is so delightful. He has become elevated to be one of probably my top 5 DC characters now, because I just love that every era of Hawkman is somebody saying, we don't know what to do with him. And that's like always the theme behind every Hawkman run. And something about that is just special to me.
That's so funny. Not a DC head asterisk until it comes to Hawk-related people.
Hawkman and my idol Wonder Woman.
And then he was roofied and couldn't help it. Famously, Peter took a while to realize that the Karate Kid miniseries was a Legion of Superheroes spinoff and not based on the motion picture.
I thought you all paid Lars to tell me that.
I forgot about that.
So I'm very naive when it comes to DC. I'm learning though after these 3 years. But
okay, I'm gonna move on to number 14, getting closer to the top 10. Ooh. Doing things a little different.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, number 14, The Flash, Bronze Age. Speaking of Barry Allen, so we've had Wally West on this list. We've had Jay Garrick, and now we've got Barry Allen. But this is the Bronze Age Barry Allen. So after the Fastest Man Dead through the end of the 59 series.
There's not a lot of good Flash paperbacks that are good starting points that are in print right now.
I think there's not a lot of Flash material like in Clark.
Yeah. Now
they have a couple of deluxes, I think, from this era, and that was about it, right? Lars?
Just yeah, now this is one that I have gone looking on DC Infinite, and there's like massive patches missing on DC Infinite. So,
oh yeah,
there's a ton of it that's unavailable unless you resort to less than ethical means. Yeah.
So
even Trial of the Flash, which is one of the more popular ones, that one came out as a showcase, I think, again black and white.
Doesn't I thought there was a hardcover.
Yeah,
from-
didn't they release a standard size hardcover of it like a couple years ago?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
I think I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what's funny is Bart could fit into the pre 2011.
Yeah, totally.
Really
As
be
like,
a Bart volume.
Yes.
we got to get Mark Guggenheim Flash collected somehow, guys. It's got to happen.
All we're missing is Bart Allen as the Flash. Definitely a forget.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
So much so that editorial and sales took note and immediately brought back the classic Wally. Yeah, that was a weird choice, but hey, can't win them all. Okay, let's move on to number 13, Batman.
There's some Batman.
interesting. Okay.
The early and mid 2000s.
This likely consists of 10 plus volumes.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it would be
Buy your
the-
calyxes now, folks.
I know. Ooh,
Keep the Swedish in business because they're coming.
my
New
colon is
Gotham
quivering to think of
era.
that.
Yeah. So this would be Ed Brubaker. It would be Greg Rucka. Who else? Dave Johnson and Scott McDaniel, Brian K. Vaughan.
Brian K. Vaughan,
Yeah, this particular era.
Brian Azzarello, Omar, Jeff Loeb. You forgot Jeff Loeb. I'm surprised you forgot about him.
What was the stories that he wrote? I don't remember.
Hush,
Little story called Hush.
Hush, a little story that
We
you
just
probably have never heard of.
out.
That really obscure niche
Omar,
story.
we literally had a photo of Hush on the DC Finest poll. You could not name the stupid story. My goodness.
Wow, you don't like Hush? Dude, that story was awesome.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
Now we're just putting words into my mouth. Is that what the stream is about?
I forgot that 2000 and this is what happens when you get old. Is you
All the years
thinking
start running
that
together.
Hush was just 5 years ago, not 20 fucking years ago, which is just
Well, to be fair, it does feel like something that DC keeps doing to us over and over
How
again.
did that
so.
happen?
It's true. It does feel like they never finished. Yeah,
How did
We're
that
still
happen?
being hushed to this day.
we are.
We are being hushed to the day.
But
It's not like being, you're being gaslit. No, it was just yesterday that it started.
Well, I mean, considering that they print out at least one version of it every single year, so
Yes,
it's really
yes.
hard.
look,
to...
we can't
Yeah,
we,
there's
we
been-
can't hate on them for having evergreen Batman material, but I think what's
It just
again
sells.
much like the period that we had earlier on the poll of the Dini and Morrison of it all, this is the stuff right before that. And again, has it been well collected? Yes, there's been omnibuses, there have been trades, there's been Hush, there's all sorts of stuff. Has it been integrated so that we could read both of the Batman series in release order or in publication order or in story order, whatever? No, not particularly. And the stuff kind of comes and goes in and out of print. So it's like, this is again a really fascinating chance. And looking at the way that DC has mapped everything Batman to this point that we've seen in the 90s, they pulled in so many miniseries and things along the way, OGNs, anything that's in current Batman continuity. So there's like a real opportunity. There were a lot of Batman miniseries in the early 2000s that we have not seen collected comprehensively in the same way we've seen this stuff collected like Hush and other things that follow No Man's Land. So this could be a really unique opportunity, and to get it all in paperback. 10 sounds like a lot, but DC Finest retail for what are they? $39.99?
$39.99.
So that's
30.
like 3 Finest for the price of an omnibus. So this is really, if it's 3 omnibuses worth of material, and it cost about that too. So it's, I mean, I'm excited for this. It was not one of my votes, but I would be really happy to dig into this in a sequential way. I've only ever read like the big stories, not just Hush, but like the tent poles. And I want to read the in-between stuff.
Yeah,
What they're saying, yeah. Go ahead, Lars, please.
It's Greg Rucka, it's Ed Brubaker, it's Scott McDaniel. Yeah, I mean, this is just really good.
Except for the bird people. I
Except for
hated
the
that
bird people.
story
Um,
so much.
I
The
think you're
Greg
right.
Rucka
though.
bird people.
This might benefit from being all thrown in together. Yeah.
So did I miss something? Is Hush? People are saying Hush isn't good. I thought Hush was
Because
just-
Hush 2 people really don't like. I personally think that original Hush is a great baby's first Batman,
Yeah.
but
It's got everybody in it, and it's drawn by Jim Lee. Who doesn't like that?
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's a great. Then you figure out who you like, you know what you enjoy in it.
I
It's-
think
Joy Huntress and Nightwing. Yes. What?
I think
Lars?
Hush is reliably readable. You know, it's fine.
Reliably
perfect baby
readable.
first-
Reliable read. What? Lars.
Reliably readable,
Okay.
dude. That's got to be a blurb on some some random website.
It was a blurb on Wizard magazine.
I mean, both Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee have done stuff that I've enjoyed more. They're great creators. They're really great creators.
Okay, I'm going to move on to number 12, which is Crisis. What is this?
Hey!
Well, this is one of my favorite runs of all time, but it's not just the George Perez of Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman After Post-Crisis, very, very famously launched by George Perez, runs for about 60 issues. It's an extraordinary run. The first 24 issues are some of the best comic books of the 1980s and my hair idol. But then after that, this run keeps being good. The thing that I always say about it is George Perez reintroduces the idea of who Wonder Woman could be in a modernized way. And I think for all of the people who did re-origins of characters after Crisis, and there were many, I think this was one of the most successful of them.
Yeah.
And then after he really gives her years, 5 years to kind of be established on her own. Yeah, she participates in some events and things, but it's very much about Wonder Woman, the person. Then William Esther Loebs comes in, keep hearing that name in the stream, and he explores Wonder Woman, the superhero, and what that means for Wonder Woman, the Amazon. And after that, we got John Byrne coming in and saying, well, let's explore Wonder Woman's connection to the whole pantheon of DC. Let's explore a connection to, the stuff going on in Apocalypse and the New God stuff. And then after Byrne, this goes to an Eric Luke run, which has never been collected. It's one of our few Wonder Woman gaps in Omnibus, along with the William Esther Loeb. So the great thing about this is it's a really broad target worth of material. And obviously the Perez stuff is the most popular. We've had it in Omnibus, which was recently reprinted. We've had it in an Absolute. So of course, I'm sure Tessa could sell it hand over fist across the counter if she had it in paperback for $40. But there's a lot of opportunities here with a lot of really exciting runs, exciting for different ways because of creators, because they're under collected. And for my money, there's really not very much bad content in here. Wonder Woman is like a stealth, amazing book that people are finally discovering because of all the omnis.
Of all the relaunches in this era, this might be the most reliable and timeless in a way.
Yes.
DC could keep flogging this until the end of time, basically. It's pretty reliable.
I'm curious okay, so this is a real question because this is something that when doing like where to start reading Wonder Woman, to me, this is one of the greatest runs. But going back and rereading it, I wonder what people think now because it is dialogue heavy. Not as much as like
it is. Well,
like, not as much as Phil Jimenez, but I do tell people to set that aside to and Phil Jimenez. Oh my God, I love his art.
Well, it is, but Tessa, if you're here because of Perez New Teen Titans, then surely you're proving that this, it's got a little word balloon. So did everything in this era, though.
Well, no, this
feels dated. That's not a bad thing.
Wolfman, though. This was Perez with what's his name? Go ahead, Potter.
It feels dated, but that's not a bad thing. Reading an old comic, it's okay for it to feel like an older comic. People are reading an older comic because they want to read an older comic, and they inherently feel different than a comic that came out this year, last year, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Do you feel like
and also ones that have a lot of words in them makes people feel like they're getting more bang for their buck when they're paying $40.
That's what I'm hoping for because I do see, it's usually like when I post a video on TikTok where I'm talking about something that's Bronze Age and it's, people are like, wow, I tried that, but it's a lot of words. I like Absolute Batman. I like, which is wonderful. I think
and
it's
both
great.
These things exist.
Anybody can, but I'm curious, what you see. Like,
some people are just different, Some people like Marvel, some people like DC, some people are going to want a wordier comic, some people are going to want a more art-heavy book. That's just it.
Well, certainly when it was coming out, that it was, quote, word-heavy would never have occurred to me.
Not when it was coming out, because it was just a comic book.
Right, that was just like the thing.
It was the comics we had. Yeah,
exactly. And you knew that some people were more dialogue heavy than others. You knew that a Chris Claremont book was, going to have a lot of dialogue in it. But the decompression era really starts to kick in the late zeros.
But Tom King is so popular right now, and Bendis is popular. Like it doesn't affect anything.
Yeah,
King books have a ton of words and a ton of narration.
They do.
His Wonder Woman run there's a ton of captions in it.
Yeah.
And look, I know I'm the Wonder Woman apologist in chief, but the thing I would say to that is, it's wordy. I mean, these are some of the first comics I read to Kid Crisis when she was a little like 2-3-year-old. I would skip the kind of like challenging parts and just read Wonder Woman being Wonder Woman and like Amazon stuff. But saying that, I think it's partially dense because especially for the first 24 issues, Perez is really leaning into the mythology of it all. And he's like trying to write a book that's like an extension of Greek mythology. So it's like very narrative. There's a lot of things he needs to inform us about.
Yeah,
you know,
he always loved Greek mythology. You know, like that Greek gods storyline in New Teen Titans. Now, I got into classical literature very early on, and I was given like Greek mythology in like second, third grade or something like that. So I ate it up. But there was a part of me sitting and going, why the hell are all these Greek gods in New Teen Titans? But it's that, he loved them much.
Oh, but I love in this run when is it Apollo or Hermes like crashes into Boston, and then he's just got to like slum it and have an apartment, kind of like the Hercules plot at one point at Marvel. But just like he's such an asshole. It's just so great. I love it so much.
Yeah. But I mean, he drew the Greek characters wonderfully. So.
Oh, beautiful.
Wonderfully.
No, sorry.
Wonderfully.
Sorry.
All right. So there you go. I love Wonder Woman. Even though I own this in 1, 2, at least 3 different formats already, I would obviously buy it again.
Something I forgot to ask you. Are you getting all of the DC Finest Crisis like Curtis, or are you just picking lines here and there? You're one of those. Hell yeah. You see, Lars? You see what you're missing out on, Lars?
I cannot resist comprehensive collections of comics history. Almost any company, if they choose to do that, Valiant, Image, Gold Key, Dynamite, if they're like, we're going to do it in an archival way and we're paying close attention and no stone will be left unturned, I will show up.
I like that.
Yeah. I am not like that. Number one, because I just can't afford it, even if I wanted to. And 2, because inevitably there's a ton of stuff in there I don't actually want. Even if, first of all, there's stuff that's objectively shit. But even if like, it's just, it is good. It's just not for me, Yeah. I know
that's going to be one of the segments on my Lars podcast. It's going to be objectively shit with Lars. And then we're going to do 5 minutes in the middle, just a type 5 about something that's objectively shit.
If you like this, you are wrong, and I have the graphs to prove it. No, but there's plenty of
stuff
stuff
sounds like my channel.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff that like I just don't want to own, even if it's good. Or I've read it once, and I'm like, yeah, that was really good. I enjoyed it. I don't need to own it.
But let me ask you, let me take a trip back in time. Diddly doo. Imagine that you're at Wizard Mag still, and you have the opportunity to have this on the shelf to reference as you're like writing articles or interviewing creators. Like, would you have killed for something this comprehensive at that time?
Well, I would have made Gareb pay for it and put it in the library.
Dang.
All right. Well, and sometimes my job was to like, get reference material for the library. Cause like I called up Dave Sim and I was like, would you mind terribly sending us a full set of Cerebus? Because we like Cerebus. We want to support it. But we, as you say, we don't have the damn thing. And he obligingly sent a full set. So yeah, I wouldn't keep it myself. I'd make Gareb do it.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to move on to number 11. And that is Green Lantern, the Kyle Rayner era.
I was expecting this to be up here.
I'm glad it's up it almost made it in the top 10, even though there's been a compendium release of this. People still want it in DC Finest. It is a great era. It's a brand new Green Lantern. And not necessarily the hero that they were looking for, and the only Green Lantern for a while. This is the Ron Mars and Daryl Banks era of Green Lantern, and probably, to this day, my favorite Green Lantern. I really like Kyle. Kyle's up there too, but Kyle's my dude.
Speaking of wordy things, look at the likely content blurb there. Oh my goodness.
Well, that's likely. May not happen. But yeah, this whole thing went up to issue 181 before we ended up getting Green Lantern Rebirth, when Jeff Johns came in and said, hey, you know who I miss? Al Jordan. Let's bring him back.
Well, and 2 things about that, because this was the last one that went into the presentation. I had to get Omar to prove me, because I was like, is that real? Is like Omar just said, it went to issue 181 from him taking over with issue 0, and you could say he starts in 50 or 55, depending on where you really want to count from. So A, it's long. B, there was a lot of stuff to the side because he was really popular in between 1998 and 2001. Yes. So there's one-shots. There's an original graphic novel. He had a whole mini event that was all done in one-shots called Circle of Fire while his ongoing was still running. So there's like all of this stuff off to the side that this would collect. And then also DC said in the planning of this that Lantern as a line probably would pick up all things Lantern in the same way that the compendiums are doing. So if that's the case, this also has some post-0 hour Dark Stars to collect and some post-0 hour Guy Gardner Warrior to collect, if that holds true. Personally, I would just love to have a Guy Gardner line, but all I know is what DC told us, which is just put that all on the Green Lantern line for now. So potentially, yeah, I didn't even estimate the number of books this would take, because it's truly a hard amount of material to wrap your brain around. And we've only just cracked into it in Compendium.
I do agree that I think it would be really fun to be able to be like, here's some Guy Gardner line, here's some Kyle Rayner line, maybe here's some Hal Jordan. Like, I like that idea a lot.
Here's Dark Stars, Green
Give us
Lantern Dark
Alex
Stars.
Star.
That would be interesting to see how they handle that. All right.
Tessa,
So-
are you developing photos while we're working on this?
Hey, Lars, we don't.
No, I'm not complaining. I'm just
Yes,
your ability to
Yeah.
multitask is really good.
We're going to open up my window here. All right.
No, it's
it's
fun
fine.
mood lighting.
No.
Dom even turned on a light for, everything's wonderful here.
No.
Okay.
I was trying to seduce you guys. I had like nice moody lighting. I'm sorry. It didn't work.
No, you did have that.
Well,
No, actually, now
we
I'm
saw
thinking
your
I need light
choices.
lighting.
We saw your choices for comics in the back.
Yeah.
And you got some good Neil Adams back there, and you've got that new Teen Titans. So Seduction, hello, yes, I'm in. Good Booster
There's
Gold.
more over
Oh,
there.
you have your Booster Gold. I didn't even see that one. Okay,
My baby. Oh my god.
How many boyfriends or girlfriends have you picked up through Booster Gold?
I actually just turn more people into Booster Gold people.
Ah, smart. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I'm
That's
trying
the
to.
way.
That's what I'm doing. Using my powers for good.
All right, we are gonna get into the top 10,
Okay.
and then we have to do something else. But
It gets real.
wait, before we get to the top 10, we're gonna do something a little bit unprecedented.
We are. I'm joking.
DC Finest Most Wanted New Lines is what we're gonna do. We're gonna save the top 10 of the classic line or the ongoing line until we go through these here. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is the first year we've done this, so we want to keep people tuning in and making sure you're hitting the like button, please. So we're not in the top 10 yet. We're gonna talk
So
about.
these are new lines. Termile,
New
we're just going for it.
Wow.
So Amethyst,
I'm ready to move on.
Amethyst was one of 100 new lines, and this is one of the things that we worked closely with DC with. We came in with a huge list of everything that is possible. Some of them they said that's actually part of this other line, like with Guy Gardner being part of Lantern. Some of the things they said you aren't thinking about it, but we actually would be willing to do a line such as humor, which was on the poll. And we came out with exactly 100 lines. We didn't try to game it in any way. That's just the round number we came out with. So these are the top 20 most voted on lines. Everybody got to vote for 5. So everybody got to vote for 5%. Everybody had the same power as each other. And the number 20 is a line for Amethyst. Back to Omar.
What the hell? Dave's back to me. Wow, this came in as a shocker, but not. I shouldn't have been that shocked.
It was
because
like that on the Omni poll.
Amethyst, it's crazy. I didn't know there were that many Amethyst fans. And because, I don't know, 20 years ago, I would have been asking the same question. What the f- is this? But it's definitely has a huge fan following. And not was there a showcase? Did we establish if there was a showcase?
Yes, but it didn't get through everything.
Okay. And it's insane that it made it in the top 20. So all you people that were like, oh man, Batman's going to dominate the top 20. Wrong. It's Batman and Amethyst. So eat it. Lars, have you read this?
To my great shame, I haven't. I think when it came out, it was just like, oh, this isn't. I didn't read a lot of Sword and Sorcery, period. I casually flipped through Conan, but I never really collected it. So, I just wasn't.
But Lars is Legion adjacent.
Well, I know. Well, no, obviously I had the intro story because I bought that Legion issue. But once it became its own title, like I say, it was just a genre that I wasn't into.
I'm not
Lars hates
surprised
Keith Giffen.
because the amount of times I'm at like conventions and I get people looking for Amethyst is wild. I don't know why they're so
Really?
popular.
Where are they coming from? This is like
I don't
we've been
know.
asking about this for months, but like,
Like it seems like a lot of them are younger women, so I don't know if like they were introduced in something I don't know about. But it seems like I don't know. It seems like maybe it's an easier thing they feel like they can just jump into, and you don't have to know a lot of history to just jump into Amethyst. But a lot of like people have been coming around, especially like younger women, and just digging for Amethyst back issues now that there's that many of them.
Well,
That's
there was
so
a recent
cool.
Amethyst series, right? When
Yep.
was that?
Amy Reeder, which I
That's
read
it.
by the way, great series. Came out with the Wonder Comics line back.
That was like
6 years ago. 6 years ago.
2019, 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
6
gonna say,
years
like,
ago.
I've been
It
having
was
a lot of
really
people, like,
good.
post-COVID, like, the last, like, probably, like, 3 years or so. It's been happening a lot.
It might be more of a commentary on how much the publishers don't have a lot of female-led fantasy.
Yeah.
So if
A
you're
lot of
into that, if you're
female-led
into that
period.
genre, you're going to go here. Yeah.
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 Well, you weren't even reading Sword and Fantasy, Lars. So
Well,
you
But he
No,
cares
but
about the people.
I'm saying for the people who do and want it female-led, there's not a huge wealth of choices. I mean, there's Red Sonja, but
somebody was just asking about this. So,
And while
what is
I
your-
like Red Sonja, she is obviously a bit more of like a sexualized character. So if you're looking
Yeah.
for that and not just, that, this is one of the main places to go.
And also, not for nothing, Amethyst has big She-Ra energy.
True.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what?
definitely.
I didn't put that together. You're very, very correct.
I put it together in my head, but I didn't say anything.
Yeah, but you didn't actually say it out loud, so I don't believe
Yeah,
you.
I totally should have said it out loud. Don't come at me with She-Ra. I love that woman. All right. What is your opinion on the New 52 Amethyst? Do you think DC Rebirth should have kept that iteration? New 52 Amethyst was a member of the Justice League Dark. She was. What was my opinion? She was okay.
I like that there was a Joshua Middleton variant for 1 or 0, whatever it was.
That guy, man, I miss his artwork. I miss his internal art. It was so
I
good.
think the challenge with some of the modern takes on her, even though I'm happy that it popularized her both in Justice League Dark and then, her being incorporated a little bit into Wonder Comics when Bendis was running that subline, is that she's just not as fun when she's in the fully heroic universe. Like, her world is fun. I'd rather send people to her world. And so it's kind of like when she's in our world, I mean, she's like a teenager, she's a princess, she has a sword, she's defending the gem world. But when she's in gem world, it just feels like there's so many more possibilities. And that's, Dom, why I really like that Amy Reeder series, because it just felt like there's so much we could have done. And gem, like, she couldn't find her parents, people are trapped in gems, then you get like an eclipse. So there's just like so many connections to be had when we're in gem world. So I would devour this, and I would probably get 2 copies of this because I would get one for Kid Crisis and one for me.
Am I misremembering it, or in the Leo run recently of Power Girl, did they go to Gem World?
In Titans, they recently went to Gem World during the DCKO tie-ins.
I haven't read the DCKO
really?
stuff, so
Yeah, John
maybe
Layman
that's why people are asking for it, because DCKO is huge. I'm not caught up on that yet.
But that was only last year, right?
None of this has been since DCKO.
Only last year, Omar.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Crush was 23 years ago. Felt like 5 years ago.
Well, no,
I
I'm
have a
talking
lot
about
of women
DCKO.
subscribers to the Power Girl series, and I'm pretty confident. I mean, she went to some fantasy planet. I think it was with Amethyst and Gem World. I'm pretty confident, but like 80% confident.
I'm just saying that the Titans appearances are much more recent than anything beforehand.
Well, Amethyst stands right in. We want to hear all about you and your psychology and why you're looking for Amethyst back issues.
Absolutely.
Real quick to Crisis's point. Pretty much the same thing with John Constantine Hellblazer. Like, throw him into DC, you'd rather see him outside of that universe. Same thing happens. Same thing applies with Amethyst.
Oh, I like that wanker anywhere. All right, let's go to number 19.
I'm starting to get ideas here because Lars mentioned doing something about speed dating, and I'm like, I need to get the Amethyst crowd with the Legion of Superhero crowd.
Well, that is the
That's right.
That is the eternal nut to crack. Yeah. Free Amethyst Princess of Gem World if you show up for speed dating. Good Lord.
Shout out to Thor or DC. Let's go to number 19.
Number 19 is World's Finest, 1954 to 2011. Yeah.
Let's go. Oh, I love the cover choice on the spine.
Yeah.
That was you, wasn't it? You did that.
Yes, I did that. Yes.
You just complimented yourself.
I like it's got Superman getting punched. Who doesn't like seeing
I was
that?
giving you that's a very Omar move to do. You complimented yourself. Good job, Dom. I'm proud of you.
He's learning.
Wow, there was a lot of World's Finest. Holy crap. 323 issues, Lars?
Yeah, it ran a long time.
I was gonna say I collected the Golden Age stuff for that.
Oh my god. That's a lot of issues. That's a lot of books.
Well, Brave and the Bold ran a long time too. I mean, it's just
Who doesn't like seeing their 2 favorite men of the Trinity team up, Omar?
My two favorite men in the Trinity.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so glad you clarified that for me. Thank you. That's crazy. Woo. How much of this has been collected before, though?
We have a couple of omnis of.
There's a
World's
couple of
Finest.
omnis.
Yeah.
But,
We still need
And
to get
that's it,
through.
right? Were there archives of this?
Ooh, good question. If there were, there weren't that many. Yeah.
And they only let me just think for a second.
Ooh,
Did they
I'd be
get
all
through
over that.
all of it in? They're only 2 volumes into it, into Silver.
No,
in Silver
there's
Age.
no way they're anywhere near
Yeah,
capturing it
I
all.
didn't even know that was a thing. See, all these secret amethyst fandoms are coming out of the woodwork. I had no idea they were animated shorts.
They're big,
Amethyst
man.
animated
They're
short.
big.
Dom's the only one that's seen them. Dom, you like them?
I had fun with them.
Okay. Lars, did you even know they were a thing?
I did know they were a thing. To my shame, I've not seen them.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe World's Finest kind of gets deprioritized because the Superman and Batman lines on their own are so chugging along so strongly. But yeah, there's a ton of comics here that have never been collected.
And a good question in the chat. I just lost it to the scroll, but we only get, again, this map didn't come from DC. This is just us trying to point you towards, if you want to go check out this material, what you might do. There's a lot of other Batman DC or Batman Superman team up books. Would they go into this line because it's distinctly the 2 of them, even if they're not called World's Finest, like the Batman Superman series that was long running in the 2000s? Would that go in the team ups line? I'm not 100% sure, but clearly there's plenty of World's Finest material to collect here, even before we get into figuring out where any other Batman Superman stuff goes.
Okay. Now, the next book here is Young Justice, coming in at number 18.
Yes.
This has been collected in 2 omnis.
Yep,
It's also
5.
been collected in a series
And
of
soft
Yeah,
trade
5 of
paperbacks.
those thick trade paperbacks that I had, and then I gave to somebody else for their birthday.
Very, very kind of you, Dom. And fully collected. The omnis have a lot more material, and yeah, this is a great era. I love this era of the young. We didn't have a Teen Titans team. We had a Titans, but it wasn't the teen that we were used to. So this is the precursor to the Jeff Johns Teen Titans, but it's still Connor.
Well, no. Teen Titans ran alongside this from 1996 to 1998, and then when they relaunched the book in '99, they brought the old Legacy Titans back, starring their own book. So these 2 series always had something running alongside of each other.
But they weren't teens, were they? I mean, it was like Nightwing and Starfire, right?
I'm talking about the '96 team that had Argent.
Oh, the Jurgens.
Yeah,
team.
the Jurgens run. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is when this started.
God, I forgot about that run. Yeah, that one definitely hasn't had any collections.
Nope.
But-
that's why it's always ended up in like my top 2 for voting, but no one else wants it, so it's okay.
No, I'm sure Dan Jurgens wants it. But this stuff is phenomenal, and
Yeah,
it's been
I
collected, like I said, in fat trades and skinny trades and omnis, and people still voted for it.
Yeah.
Bringing it to number 18.
Solid creators. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
But
have the
somehow-
omnis. Yeah, I would love to have this in Finest because I thought about getting the omnis, but I told myself, you know what, cheaper collection comes about, I might as well get it. So I'm hoping that they eventually come out with a line of this at some point.
I will buy this if it doesn't include Graduation Day.
Oh man, I would put Graduation Day in the Teen Titans line and not the Young Justice line, but that is actually no, I think it might double dip. I think that it will be one of those things that double dip for like volume 4 or whatever the series.
I mean, there is definitely a shift in tone, but for complete's sake, you would have to.
Yeah.
Before the launch of Teen Titans by Johns.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go with number 17, which is Batman and the Outsiders. This
Wow.
would cover the entire Batman.
Just the Outsiders. Hence
Also, one of my first things that got me into comics. I loved Halo.
Really?
Yeah.
the classic stuff or the Judd Winnick stuff?
The
Classic.
Batman Outsider. Once Halo was in, that's how I got it.
Whoa,
Mike
How-
that's
W. Bowman.
crazy.
How
Okay.
did you come across the material? Did
I
you-
saw a comic cover and went, "Who's this person? That looks
Okay.
cool."
Okay. Yeah.
Anybody associated with Tara Markov has to be in a DC Finest. Omar is pretty much the selling point for this.
Geoforce.
Yes, Geoforce.
Oh, very nice. Oh, Crisis, you had a choice. You had a Travis Charest cover. That's okay.
Ooh.
That's a good cover. I love that cover. That's some early Travis Charest. It was before he took over Wildcats. But this would include, the classic stuff and then the Judd Winnick stuff. So the Mike W. Barr, Jim Aparo, and then Judd Winnick and Tom Rainey, and who else was in that? Shane Davis, Matthew Clark, and Philip Tan eventually. And it wasn't it Dan Didio that ended up.
Dan Didio eventually took over the title after Tomasi left in Brightest Day.
Now, this is probably 7 or 8 total volumes. So I think what's really interesting is looking at a lot of the new lines. They're new lines that maybe are like 2 volumes or 3 volumes because they're shorter series. Even Young Justice, we just had it in 2 omnibuses. So how many DC Finals volumes could it possibly be? A maximum of 4, really. But like, there's a substantial amount of material because there's so many different eras of Outsiders. There when Batman first forms them in the 80s, then they kind of kick Batman to the curb, which is funny because Batman kicked the Justice League to the curb to form the Outsiders. So then they have their own solo run as the Outsiders. Then they go away for a good long while, and then they got brought back in 2 different 2000s iterations, one of which did really well on the Omnibus poll. So the images we've got on the back cover here are actually like the start and end of each of those 4 distinct runs, and between them all, they all run a minimum. I think the shortest one is 28 issues and an annual and a special, so let's call it 30. And a DC Finest really stretches to get to 30, although it has happened. So there's, and that's the shortest one. So there's, I mean, we would take some volumes to get through this. The 80s stuff has been collected in, I believe, standard size hardcovers. Of course, there were original release trades of the 2000 stuff, but it's never been all collected at the same time in a consistent format. And a lot of that stuff is very out of print now.
Yeah, there was also a 90s run that had Halo, Geoforce. One of the original Outsiders also died in the run. Katana was on it.
Oh yeah, I have a cover there, but I don't have it in the list. Maybe I missed pasting it in, but it's the cover is on there.
This is what happens when I go to Japan, Crisis.
Right? Everything falls apart.
Wow. I love the homage in Batman and the Outsiders to that first issue, or when he kicks them out. They did it again.
It was also an opportunity for Jim Aparo to do something kind of original, in that, you know, he spent so many years on Brave and the Bold drawing other people's characters, and here he was drawing some of his own. So I followed this pretty avidly when Aparo was drawing it, and then it went to the direct market, and I kind of dropped off on that.
I have restored the 1993 run. It had 2 different issue number 1s, and then 24 issues and a 0 issue. So good catch on
you're
that.
editing as we're doing this. Okay. I am going to move on to the next one, which is number 16, and that is Huntress.
Hey, we're getting Helena and the other Helena.
This is another character that really didn't have an ongoing series outside of the one from the 80s, and it would be pretty much collecting some of the early stuff from the 70s and then moving on to her series in 1989, which is post-Crisis. And then the Nightwing Huntress miniseries. So it's pretty cool that people voted for her so high.
I'm really surprised to see it this high.
Yeah, I would totally kill for because I have read Cry for Blood is how I got into the character by Greg Rucka and Rick Burchett. Fantastic series. If anybody wants a template on how to do a really good vengeance story, it's what you read. We've never gotten that material, like, you know, collected alongside a whole bunch of other stuff, for lack of a better word. I would really kill to have a line with Helena Wayne and Helena Bertinelli all in one encompassing. So I need this ASAP.
I wonder if that stuff gets confusing for newer people.
Quite possibly. Frankly, I love
the book, right? Go ahead, Lars.
I like her a lot better when I'm more invested in her when she's Helena Bertinelli rather than Helena Wayne. I find her origin more interesting, her approach, and like Gail Simone really elevated her in Birds of Prey. Did some really terrific work with the character, but her being Batman's daughter is almost a little limiting compared to, you know, she's a independent vigilante with some anger issues.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, I like to when she showed up in Nightwing or Robin when Chuck Dixon was writing those stories. That was the character that I really liked. I think Dom, didn't they redo her origin in that Greg Rucka book?
It completely different.
What was she? Was she a teacher or a lawyer in that one?
She was.
So I remember whatever decision they did, it made me mad.
It didn't make you mad
because she was a lawyer in the 80s and 90s, and I think they made her a teacher. I don't like when they revamp people's origin. And there's nothing wrong with teachers, obviously. I married one, but I don't know what it was that made me mad. I think it's because they took away her lawyering.
But you like the Hal Jordan retcon when they said that that him destroying a city was actually the reason to it was a parasite living in his body.
100%.
Well, yeah, that's perfectly acceptable.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that it pissed you off so much you don't remember why or what it was. You're just like, I know that I hate it. I don't know why.
They made her a teacher. I was happy with her being a successful lawyer. Like, why is Matt Murdock get to stay a lawyer? Why don't they make him a teacher?
No, that's fair. Again, she's used wonderfully in the Justice League cartoon. But again, it's the Helena Bertinelli, version rather than Helena Wayne. Perfectly understandable that she was created as Batman's daughter when you have Earth 2 and you want to do something with the older Bruce and Selina. But her evolving origin has been much more interesting.
Now, I will say I had some confusion on this, and I think maybe Dom can set me straight. That 2011 series is not branded on the cover with the New 52 branding, but it came out in October 2011 beside New 52. So is that pre-Flashpoint continuity or post-Flashpoint continuity?
That you're right. That was that is supposed to be post-Flashpoint. I remember it being on Earth 2. Yeah.
Then I am going
you shouldn't
to
have
take
anyone
it off.
set you straight during Pride Month. That's really rude.
What happened during Pride Month?
You shouldn't have anyone setting you straight during Pride Months.
Oh, no, nobody's going to do that. Don't worry.
That's one of the aspects of the New 52 that I did find irritating, because like the relationship between the Birds of Prey characters was so great, and then along comes the New 52, and suddenly it's scrambled, and they don't know each other as well, and I was like, well, okay.
I will say on the confusion front, I do remember having a conversation with like 15 people at one point. I was a speaker for something. I don't remember what it was, but it was like 4 years ago. And I'd tell people that there were 5 different characters that all held up the mantle of Robin at some point. And they were like, it isn't just one person. I do wonder if it is like just an outside thing that people might not know some of these characters and the histories of them. I had to explain to my dad that there was more than one Green Lantern when the new Superman movie dropped. But I think that's just a matter of you breaking in and reading whatever material and figuring out like, oh, like there is a universe that is much larger than you anticipated.
I remember when the headlines hit that Alan Scott was gay, and like older members of my family would,
yes.
They would look at me as the comic book and they'll, Green Lantern's gay, and I would go like, well, a Green Lantern is gay,
right?
And they'd be like, what are you talking about?
That was the same thing when Superman's son had a boyfriend. They were like, Superman's gay. It was like, well,
oh man,
gotta get
a lot of those.
Baby. Gotta get the clickbaits. All right.
What's that?
Anyone want to add anything else about Huntress?
All of that said, despite all, if you're going to do Huntress DC Finest, though, obviously just throw it all together. That's the only thing you can do. Yeah. Okay,
throw it all together. Thank you so much. There we go, Lars. What nonsense is this?
Oh my god! Wow, incredible.
Only at number 15, Lars.
I know, shocking. Again, this might be better served as a DC Finest in that I just don't know that they would ever get around to an omnibus. But there's clearly demand for the material. The early issues, in particular with Barry Kitson's art, are pretty terrific. Really, really strong. So.
But Lars, what are they? If for anybody who might think that there are 5 different, not the 5 different Robins in the universe.
No, so like this is essentially the Legion of Superheroes' modern day ancestors for the most part, and some extra characters thrown in. It's an odd series. Again, you can kind of like they're the ancestors of the characters you've been reading in Legion, but it was its own weird sci-fi bent. I mean, it's from the mind of Keith Giffen, and Alan Grant, so of course it's gonna be strange. Lobo appears because anything Keith Giffen was writing is going to have Lobo in it. There was some stuff that went on in there that to this day I'm like, what? How's that supposed to work? But it was very reliable sci-fi. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about this a little bit on my channel. It just missed my ballot, but I'm really excited to get it. To me, this is what DC Finest is made for. It's one of these things that's probably a little bit sub-Omni level interest. DC does not tend to put out a lot of more niche things in Omnibus. I just did a big study on the data. It's just not a thing they do. This at totaling around, let's see, that's 80 and another 200 at about 130 issues. It sounds like so much, but with Finest averaging out like 25 issues each, there's like 5 volumes, maybe 6.
Yeah.
I mean, Finest is built to get this material in print, and very little of this has ever been collected aside from the 2009 series.
I mean, there's so much Legion of Superheroes material that they've not put in omnibus form. That again, this would be slightly downshifting from that. So DC Finest would make a lot of sense.
And adding Rebels to that,
it's
icing on the cake. That can make it a little bit different than the Omnis.
Yeah.
Would you put Dark Stars in this?
You may have to. There was a crossover.
I would put Dark Stars with the Green
You
Lantern.
just want Dark Stars. That's what
not the entire series, but I feel like there was a crossover in the 30s.
Yeah, I mean,
40s.
obviously
there
it would grab crossover material.
Right.
But that's a good point there, that before John Stewart arrives in Dark Stars, it's not as closely tied to Green Lantern, so you could almost put like the first half of Dark Stars in here, which I think it's more closely related to, and then the second half in Green Lantern. But maybe that's too much fuckery for DC. I'm not trying to say that should be the direction they go in.
Can you imagine being the Dark Star fan and not wanting to get Legion nor Green Lantern?
Well, yeah, I mean,
man, I just ordered a Dark Stars line.
I was gonna say being torn between being happy it's printed and not being able to get it in one book.
it's an odd gear shift if you're a Legion of Superheroes fan. I mean, I eventually drifted away from the title. I hung in there to like the 20s or something like that. Again, Kitson's art's really good. That kept drawing me back.
Well, somebody needs to take your Legion badge, your ring away. Sorry.
God.
All right. We are moving on, getting closer to these top 10 with the number 14. This one surprises me. I'll be honest with you. I love this run. I effing love this run.
Well, they're books.
Yeah.
It's one of the best. But it surprises me because it is available in omnibus format in trade paperbacks.
It's not in trade. Only the first one is in trade, and it's
that is in print. You're right.
Yeah,
and it sucks because like a lot of like people who I want to sell this to, they don't want to spend that much money on an omnibus.
Yeah,
but they can't get it after the first arc. So I'm really psyched about this.
So now the irony being that 2 DC Finest would nearly cost what the omnibus costs, I think. But
that's not how customer brands work. It's a $40 buy, and if they like it less, then it's less like capital up front.
Because this will have more than just the Gotham Central, or at least
okay.
But again, DC doesn't have to follow our mapping, of course.
No,
they can do their own thing.
You
But it has
a
bunch of miniseries in there.
You could also throw in
DC made no comments about that. That is Crisis editorializing, just to be clear.
Yeah, so it's his fault, everybody.
You could also throw in, if we're going to make this a mapping show, you could throw in material from 52 in it too. So,
there you go.
Sure. Or just make
Map
it a question.
GCPD.
Let's not do that. Let's move on to the next one.
I mean, I just have to say, I'm not historically a big DC reader. I do not necessarily love procedurals, but this is one of the first things I read in 2017 when I started really tracking all of my reading. I literally sat down and read it in one day because I could not stop reading it. I was like, cancel my plans. I'll just take dinner on the couch. I'm not going to step away from this comic. And I mean, I love comics. You guys know me to read thousands of comics a year. I'm hard pressed to tell you another series that I binged 40 issues of in a day that I could not be torn away from it. Like that's a pretty rare thing for me.
If I had a list of like, these are the comics you should read that I would just suggest if you want to know Tessa, like my favorite books, this is on that list. Easy, every time.
Yeah. It is extremely bingeable. Read month to month, it didn't move at the fastest pace. But it
would be a weird read month to month. It was definitely a binge read.
It was weird, frankly, compared to all the comics around it too. But it's wonderful stuff.
Reading it month to month, the one thing that bothered me was the tie-ins, and I don't want to give away how, but the tie-ins to Infinite Crisis. That really bothered me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to number 13, and that is Azrael. Yes, please.
Oh no.
We've only had one trade paperback of Azrael. The guy with the coolest costume at DC Comics has only had one trade paperback. That's it. Yes. Yeah.
Again, I would definitely buy it for the Barry Kitson issues. Well, like O'Neill's writing a one big story that I think issues 1 to 26. In some ways are one big story. Great, yeah. Very interesting series. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I love it, man. This is Dennis O'Neil, right? Writing these stories. I didn't really like the Superman-esque era of Azrael, his costume. But before that, he was kind of doing his own thing. Then he became Agent of the Bat, which, whatever. That's
My
okay.
weird Denny O'Neil thing is I like the Question series a lot, but yeah, I've never been an Azrael person.
It's okay. Well, it's not like yeah. It's not like
Lamar's at a loss for words.
I don't want to give people the wrong impression. Like, wait. She brings up a good point. He wrote the question. Yeah, it's not like that at all. It's,
O'Neill's a more
campier.
Yeah, O'Neill's a more thoughtful writer than some, so it's going to be a different pace than some people might be used to. I don't think it's controversial to say it actually ran 100 issues because it does run out of steam at a certain point. Here's the thing: it was known that they were trying to keep Denny on the clock to guarantee he got his pension, and that's one of the reasons they kept the series going. Which great, which I'm totally in favor of. But yeah, there's a certain point that this really drops off. But that early stuff is really interesting.
Let people find out for themselves, man.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, I if they would DC Finest this, I'd absolutely buy it.
I've never read a single issue of Azrael. At least in this era, I know him as he's been more recently in Batman comics. I just know that he's like some kind of religious fanatic, and his costume is boss. So I'm like, I just want to. That's all I know.
I mean, to look at this cover here, it doesn't exactly scream Batman spinoff, does it? It really goes its own way, even within the Batman universe. But
I enjoyed because then he starts connecting back to Batman. I assume when sales dropped of the book.
Well, sometimes,
they became Agent. Plus, it's got that
again
awesome,
in a world where we're probably not getting an omnibus DC Finest this.
Okay, well, we don't know. They can do both, Lars.
Absolutely, of course.
Let's move on to number 12. And there was can you explain a little bit of this, Crisis?
Yes.
Sure. So when you all vote on the poll, everything that you vote for gets a weight, right? When you give something a number 1 vote, that gets the most points out of all your votes. When you give something number 5, it only gets 1 point on the lines where there are only 5 choices. So we see weighted votes. It's not just how many votes something got, it's how much weight the votes gave. Often when we do the omnibus polls, there's like a big break point, like in the top 10 or like between number 4 and number 3, where there's just a few books that like ran away with the votes and are really separated. On the lines, the top 12 really were far and away. There was like a gap of, I think, dozens of votes between number 13 and number 12. So number 12 is broadly separated from the rest of the pack. And that just continues to be the case as we continue deeper into the top 10.
Okay,
let's go.
So it gives me great joy to say that the one that was broadly separated from the pack was Omar.
Hell yes, baby. Why does it give you so much joy, though?
Because separated from the pack, clear and away, part of the top group here is a line for Wildstorm Universe. Now, the backstory here, 2 halves that you might not know. Wildstorm originally started out as a Image Comics imprint. It was Jim Lee's imprint at Image Comics. Jim Lee sold that IP to DC in 1999. It became part of DC's universe. DC kept running it as its own separate numbered universe that occasionally had some run-ins with the DC universe up until 2011, and then everything got incorporated post Flashpoint into New 52. So this, to be clear, when we talk to DC about it, they're not saying that this would be compendium style and it would be everything all in one line like Milestone. It's just that there's so many different Wildstorm books and DC wasn't sure if there would even be interest in them. So they said, why don't we just put a Wildstorm option on the poll? It is not indicative of the way we plan the map. It's indicative of do people care? And the resounding answer here seems to be that you do care. So if you didn't know some of the things that are Wildstorm things, and then Tessa's like nodding and cheering, because I want to hear what Tessa says. I'm here talking about Wildstorm all the damn time. The Authority is Wildstorm, probably the most visible one right now. Backlash, Deathblow, or Wildstorm. Gen 13 is Wildstorm. Grifter, Midnighter, Mr. Majestic, who then was in the DC universe for a little while. Stormwatch, which is the precursor to the Authority, and also Wetworks, and famously Wildcats, all part of the Wildstorm universe. So Tessa, what is your Wildstorm fandom?
Authority. I love Midnighter. I love Apollo. I have their first appearance right up here. I love them very much. I do also like Grifter a bit. But yeah, no, that's my jam. Though Authority, like thicker trades that came out recently-ish, they sell really well for us.
Do you feel like it crested just when they were in the movie ever so briefly, and then when they weren't going to get their own movie, it like fell away? Or is there sustained interest because it's like Ellis, it's Hitch, you know, like...
You're gonna find out real fast that I actually am really bad at watching movies and TV shows. I didn't know they were
Me too.
in
I
it.
never watch anything.
What movie were they in?
Some
Superman.
movie, I don't know.
Superman.
Really?
The engineer was in the Superman movie. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say I saw most of that. I did fall asleep for a little bit because I can't stay away from movies.
I think one.
Yeah.
What?
But no, people just I've liked it. It goes well.
All right. So who knows where they would start? We've got some compendiums of Wildstorm in the form of the first Wildcats compendium, and then the compendium of Warren Ellis on Stormwatch before it turns into the Authority. And then, of course, we've got those two big, beautiful Authority omnibuses. But there's so much more out there. So maybe DC Finest is the way to get it in print.
Yeah. This list is awesome. I'm so pleased.
I'm so happy you're here to have that reaction.
Do you think it did so well because it's including everything?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've seen on the DC poll, it took 3 years for Gen 13 to even get into the top 60. So if we broke this out into different lines, I'm sure it would not have done as well as altogether. But let's see what DC tells us to do if we do the poll again next year. You know,
it might
I'm
work
very curious.
better all in one, because like some of these titles I can see supporting their own DC Finest, but like, are they really going to do Deathblow?
I think Deathblow is probably one of the ones that would do the best. But
maybe okay,
yeah.
It's Jim Lee doing the chiaroscuro type of artwork Sin City had.
Okay.
I don't know if it would do well, but
I don't know if they'd market it well. I mean, that's the issue.
Yeah,
I would like to see Wetworks collected, some West Potassium.
I'm
not the most
coherent
of all the series, but I love it.
Kind of throwing it all together and giving everyone who remembers this era at all a reason to buy it might be a good idea.
Again, DC did not say they were doing that, but that is an opinion one could have.
Lars is saying they're doing it.
Lars, we got information.
I'm musing. That's all. I'm just musing.
Just musing.
All right, let's move on to number 11. Speaking of the guy that wrote
Tessa, I think you maybe have some opinions on this one.
It's the guy that wrote Azrael, that's why. What is this book? Oh, it's The Question.
There we go.
Wow.
There we go.
Number 11. Yes, Lars, they are going to do Deathblow.
Apparently they're going to do Deathblow. Okay. Sure.
This run's phenomenal. So, Tessa, yeah, you like this run, apparently.
It's a great run. Don't say it like that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I like it too. How much do you like it?
I like it quite a bit. I have the Omni. I have the original issues. I like it quite a bit. Yeah, the Omni was also selling pretty well for us. And it was one of the weird cases where a lot of people hadn't really heard much of it, but it seemed very self-contained, and the cover is very pretty. So it was going pretty well. I'm kind of surprised to see that in a DC Finest, but I'm very happy about it. I like the DC weirdos a lot.
I'm surprised it made it this high, too.
Yeah, but happy. Very happy.
Probably because the only way to get it is in the omnibus format, and the DC Finest people can save some money by getting it this way.
Yeah. Omar, it's not only that. I mean, we've gotten to see through Blue Beetle and Peacemaker that DC is willing to print comics outside of the, hey, we acquired these properties, but they weren't truly DC properties up until 1985 or what have you. We have a chance to get the original Charlton comics in DC Finest, which I think is an absolutely top, like, this needs to be here printed as soon as possible. And I think having that opportunity, especially for a character like Question, where we haven't gotten to see the original Steve Ditko stuff in print, this is their opportunity to do it.
They've never had collections of that stuff, did they?
No.
Well, they did a couple of archives of the
Oh,
Charlton.
did they? Okay, so
Yeah,
then
they did actually. Yeah.
so
It was
the
called,
Ditko, wait, so the Charlton stuff that Ditko did, that's
yes,
all been okay.
it was called Action Heroes. And they did 2 volumes of that, and it was a lot of the Captain Atom stuff, and then some of the Blue Beetle question stuff, and so on. But those are long out of print and going for quite a lot of money. I would watch the Justice League cartoon with someone who wasn't a dyed-in-the-wool superhero fan, and the Question was her favorite character of all. Now he's played kind of for comic relief, you know. I mean, he was like,
but it's done so well.
He's looking at a tub of ice cream, going, the 30-second flavor, I knew it, that sort of thing. But yeah, this is really good stuff.
The this goes back. I just saw something in the chat. You mentioned that Huntress was in the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah.
The question reminds because he was also in the Justice League Unlimited.
Well, yeah.
Amy Acker did the voice of the Huntress.
She did. One of the very best episodes in there is a Gail Simone written episode called it's Double Date or something, and it's that it's Green Arrow and Black Canary versus the Question and the Huntress, and it is just delightful because, you know, Huntress is looking to murder a villain. Green Arrow and Black Canary want to stop her, and the Question's kind of going along with it because he's kind of into the Huntress, right? It's really good.
Action Heroes Archives going.
Yeah, it is. They I believe I'm right in saying they actually tried to resolicit that material as a thing called Before Watchmen. It was a solicit that was actually it was actually to acknowledge this is where Watchmen came from, and then they canceled that one. Yeah, it is great, isn't it? I rewatch it quite when I'm feeling blue. I rewatch it.
That whole series is phenomenal.
But they canceled it because, I mean, like, you know, they probably want to limit the amount of stuff they put out under the Watchmen banner, and they don't need to remind people Charlton's where it started.
Crisis, have you read any of this stuff?
No, I totally haven't at all. I mean, especially because it wasn't collected before the omnibus, and I'm not a big DC omnibus buyer, so I'm like, hell yeah, let's get some DC Finest.
Yeah, I mean, it's really well done. I have the omnibuses. Oh, I'm looking at them right now. You know, it's a bit grim, it's a bit ponderous, but
they're so good,
so good.
Ponderous and grim. That's some good words to describe it. Okay, we are going to move on to the top 10.
Yay!
But wait, before we get to the top 10, what are we what's going on now? Do we have another top 10? No, we're going to go back to the top 10 DC Finest Most Wanted volumes.
Yay!
The volumes that you all voted for that we were doing at the very beginning of ongoing volumes, that's what we're going to go back to. So keep that in mind. Not new series. We're going to finish it off with those. So coming in at number 10, anybody want to take a guess? Anybody but me, Crisis? Tessa, what do you think? What do you think? It's going to be Batman. People were like, Batman's going to dominate the top 10. Do we kick it off with Batman?
Well, I imagine there's some Legion of Super. No, wait, no, this
you're not Tessa.
Sorry.
Whoa!
No, you're right. I
using that teacher voice. Woo!
Wow! Oh my goodness! I feel so respected. You're saying it is Batman?
No, I'm asking you. Do you think it's Batman? Number 10.
I feel like there's probably going to be more Batman on the list. I'm going to save some Batman stuff.
Okay, Lars, Legion.
Well, if the abbreviated Legion's coming in number 15, then no, that's on the other list though. Damn it.
I know, that's what I was doing. My brain was like,
now. Yeah, we haven't seen Legion of Superheroes. We haven't seen Firestorm.
Okay.
Ooh.
And Batman will be on.
Give me one damn answer, Lars. One. Which one? Legion.
Legion. It's going to be Legion of Superheroes, obviously.
Yeah.
So close. It is up in space. It's Green Lantern.
There we go.
Post-crisis Green Lantern, Emerald Dawn to 0 Hour.
Okay.
So this is the classic Hal Jordan stuff. And again, this has one trade paperback. Emerald Dawn had a trade paperback, and then they did a trade paperback of Emerald Dawn 2. And that was it. The next trade paperback after that in reading order is Emerald Twilight, which is the beginning of the Kyle Rayner era. Green Lantern post-crisis has been horribly collected. Like it's up there, I would say, with Hawkman as far as like how poorly it's been collected. So yeah, be kind of cool to just get it out there, and finally people get the chance to read it. How I will say, Christopher Priest kind of redoing the origin of Hal Jordan. He's not a likable. A lot of these guys post Crisis were not very likable. Like whenever they redid their origin stories with
Yeah.
Okay, so that is number 10.
Now, I will point out, DC, again, made a pretty explicit comment, like, at this time, we don't have any volumes that we don't know for sure, but it is quite possible this would collect everything Lantern. So if you're just thinking of Hal Jordan material, there's the 6 issues of Emerald Dawn, 6 issues of Emerald Dawn 2, and then issues 1 to 50-ish of his series. You're thinking, okay, well, that's a little bit over 60 issues, so what are we going to do to get to 3 whole Finest volumes? But wait, there's so much else, though, because there's Guy Gardner's coming back for his own series. There's Green Lantern Mosaic, which has John Stewart in it. There's Green Lantern Quarterly, which were all oversized issues. There's the beginning of Dark Stars, which somehow is now coming up for the 3rd time in this stream. So actually, if this winds up being kind of a Lantern compendium line, which unlike Wildstorm, DC has hinted that they may be thinking of it that way, there's actually a lot of material to get through here in just 5 years of comics.
Good Lord. Yeah.
And I'm ready for it.
I'm ready. This was in my top 5.
And moving on to the number 9 spot is Green Arrow by Mike Grell. So continuing his run.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Keep going.
This, again, has been released in omnibus format, and there's been some trades.
I almost said that for my last guess. I'm so disappointed in myself. I would have been close.
I was a little disappointed in you too, Tessa. Lars, I've come to expect what you were going to say. Yeah, so Green Arrow, cool that people wanted in DC Finest. But the Green Arrow is mapped different too than it is in omnibus format because it contains all the miniseries and stuff. So it's definitely a case of, oh god, I'm running out of room. Do I keep the Omnis and the DC Finest? Damn it. Yeah.
Take the DC Finest, guys, because you got those Black Canary stories that are not collected in those Omnis, but they are collected in DC Finest. And it would be really nice to have all of that contained.
Love to hear that.
So yeah, if you're a stickler for not dropping things out of books, then definitely for you. All right.
Yeah, and DC's already set the precedent that all the Black Canary stuff will be in this line. That was one of the ones where we had a separate line for her in the planning, and DC was like, they're like, we don't have to tell you a secret. Just look at how it's been mapped. There's Black Canary's stuff in one of the Grell volumes we've already solicited. Clearly, Black Canary is going to be in the Arrow line until she's in Birds of Prey.
The Omnis are out of print. You are correct.
Yes. Following through on this would show some real commitment to the DC Finest line. You know, there's been a lot of DC titles that they started to collect them and didn't finish them, but this one always sells. Always sells. So yeah, finish it out.
I mean,
that's exactly what I've been thinking about the set in general. Like, I just really want to see them finish collecting some things.
Sure.
They finished it in trade paperback a few years back. 9 volumes of that.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, and they're quite slim, so this will get it done faster.
Mm-hmm.
This is a question that I think I'm gonna ask Tessa to answer this because she, more than anybody, would know because she owns multiple comic stores. Why are people voting for Gotham Central? Wasted vote. It's a in-print Omni that generally goes for under $60.
Well, as a retailer, I'm not selling it for under $60. I'm selling it for MSRP, 20% off if you're a sub. That's what most comic shops are going to do. And also, most people are going to pick up a random book like that. Obviously, if you already love the book and you just want to like a nice hardcover version, that's one thing. You want to have it on your shelf. That's what I do. But plenty of people are just like, oh, I heard this was good and I want to try it. I don't know anything about it. This is a sealed thing. I can't flip through it. It's a lot of money to drop on a book I don't know. A cheaper paperback is going to go way easier in the store. I can tell you right now that I will sell that tenfold compared to the Omni. A lot of people don't ball out for hardcovers.
Yeah,
Well,
only us weirdos.
Well, as we keep saying, they should sample it. They should sample it, and that's a great way to do it.
And unfortunately, you can only get the first trade in print. So then if they read the first trade and they love it, then it's like, all right, cool, I guess I'll buy the entire Omni and have a trade that's kind of wasted almost. And most people just don't do that.
Or you could get the DC Compact Edition of Gotham Central for $10 and enjoy that. And if you really enjoyed that, spend more.
That's true.
No, we are not going to do a recount. If you want to do your own poll, you're more than welcome to. But it is kind of mysterious that all of the Amethyst votes came from Russia. I do find that interesting, though.
And again, we have a professional auditor who doesn't just scroll through and look for duplicates. He uses professional auditing strategies to pull out duplicates and fraud votes, and we've been doing it this way for several years now.
One by one, baby. All right, let's move on to number 8, which is Lars.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Okay.
So high. Wow.
You
Wow.
were close, Lars.
That is high. That is high.
Be happy.
Again, 700. Again, much of this, really, basically all this has been collected. Probably like 85% of this has been collected. But it's very popular. The archives have been out of print it has been collected, but it's been out of print forever. So yeah. I personally didn't think Zap Goes to Legion was the best place to start with Legion of Superheroes. This is a beloved line for a reason. You got Mike Grell art, you got Paul Levitt's writing. There's a lot of stuff to enjoy in here.
Okay, so this has been collected before in what kind of format, Lars?
It was in DC Archives, and then continued on into just standard. Well, then you hit the Jerry Conway. No, actually, before the Jerry Conway stuff, 4 standard hardcovers, and basically all of that's out of print.
Yeah,
this would include like DC Archives 13 of Legion will set you back like $300-400.
Wow.
It's considered one of the most rare ones.
So it would be nice to have something back in print in a more affordable format.
Absolutely, positively. And you've got Dave Cockrum costume designs, and yeah, there's a lot to like here.
This was a line that I remember us on the was it the stream, like the launch show, where we said that Legion would be one of the lines that DC should focus on for something like this, right? Where it's like you have so many different eras and so much to figure out, like, okay, where do we start? I'm still so surprised that we've only had one DC Finest Legion of Superheroes, and it's just that like one singular point in time, and they've never bothered to go outside of it. And it would be nice for them to print more. And if they were to go through this era, it would be not only nice to pick up from the previous volume, but also, finish it out like Lars said.
Yeah.
After the stream, can you post the results? Yeah, I usually post the results in the description of the video, and the full poll results will be on Patreon. But we just put the top ones here. All right, let's do it. Moving in at number 7 is Batgirl, Cassandra Cain.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
But this is the 2002, 2008. So these are volumes after Nobody Dies. Remember, you had a choice. You can vote for the volume 1 or vote for post. And
I will just say, if DC has the guts to do it, they would never do it. But if they went directly to the 1 year later controversial changes to Cassandra's character as the next finest volume, I would actually commend them for doing that. Not commend, actually. I just find it fun if they did it.
So she rang in at number 1 on the omnibus poll. She's number 7 here. And it occurs to me that the popularity of the character
is always number 1 in my heart, Lars.
Well, yeah, it's a weird repudiation of Jeff Johns' way of doing things. Jeff Johns liked to default things back to the Silver Age. That Green Lantern had to be Hal Jordan, the Flash had to be Barry Allen, Batgirl has to be Barbara Gordon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And here is like it's a very engrossing version of Batgirl. And she kind of does need to be Batgirl. I mean, didn't they try making her Orphan for a while?
During the Tinian run.
Ooh, yeah. And it's like it just doesn't work. It's like I'm Batgirl and I'm doing things my way. And by the way, I love Barbara Gordon too. That's in no way to slag up Barbara Gordon. She's one of my favorites. But there's just you can tell a particular kind of story in stories with Cassandra that you sort of can't tell with Barbara.
With Barbara, though, like, you're just a little older than I am. We didn't grow up with Barbara being Batgirl. We grew up with Barbara being Oracle.
Correct. Yes.
Like, she got shot in the Killing Joke.
Yep.
and of course the
And then
60s
sort of-
show, but
and then
then-
sort of nobody.
But John Ostrander brought her right back up from
Yes.
where Alan Moore tastelessly displaced her.
Yeah, John Ostrander built her up into Oracle. And then kind of from memory, like basically nobody was Batgirl, as I recall.
No, there was a big thing about
Her coming back in Batman's Land was, or sorry,
No Man's Land.
No
Batman's
Man's
Land.
Land.
Batman's Land. Let's
it was
go.
Batman's, it was
was-
Batman's land.
It was treated like a big deal. It's like, hang on, someone's running around being Batgirl. Who the heck is this?
Yeah, that was handled so well, man.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of this. I thought, I wasn't there reading comics when this was coming out because it was during my break when she was created. And when I came back, my brother was getting he's the one that actually got the single issues of Batman, and he was like, "Oh, dude, they got a new Batgirl." So it was crazy. I was like, "Who is this?" I didn't want to like it, and I fell in love with the character. And then her ongoing series by Kelly Puckett was just so good. So and it's weird because it went up to like 70 something, 73 issues, right? Yeah. So I'm glad to see it. But that's what I was gonna say. I didn't realize how many Batgirl Cassandra Cain's fans there were until social media. Like,
yeah,
it was a lot because nobody was really talking about the character, not in my comic store, not anywhere. Yeah, it's cool.
We love her, man.
I'm not sure DC knew either, and why would they? I don't necessarily have time for just an average run-of-the-mill meat and potatoes Batgirl story, but the Cassandra Cain stuff, I'd buy all of this. Yeah,
except for the 1 year later stuff, right, Lars?
I don't recall reading that.
Who was Brian? Was it Brian Miller that wrote that mini, or Brian?
No. Brian, no, he was on the Stephanie Brown run.
What the hell is that guy's name? He had a cool name. Oh, God bless. Now it's gonna bother me. He co-wrote those issues with Jeff Johns on Teen Titans, and then he did that 6-issue miniseries.
Oh, Adam Beechin.
Yeah, Beechin. That's it. I don't know why I thought he had a cool name. Bitchin. That's what I called him.
I was about to be like, wow, you think
that's why really cool? I thought he had a cool name. Adam Bitchin. All right.
What's next?
So, coming in at number 6 is, to no surprise, Batman, the late 90s.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
My eyes.
Look at that.
Look at that absolute unit.
I love that costume. It's so, actually, I like this costume. I do. I think this was the cool.
All right.
I didn't like when he got all like he changed his mask and then he got red. I like the original design by Joe Quesada. I thought it was a cool costume. Not as cool as Azrael's costume, but fair enough. Like, I liked it. And yeah, this era sells. Absolutely. There's been this is some of the early DC trade paperbacks before even trade paperbacks were a big thing at DC, when it was like Death of Superman, Nightfall, and yes, there's always going to be Watchmen and Sandman available in trades back then. But before they had a collected editions like department designated to like just mapping the stuff, this was one of the big things that they would sell. And never collecting freaking Sword of Azrael. I don't know why. Never, neither in omnibus nor in the trade. I think somebody told me that the ones with the spines that make the bat symbol, does that have Sword of Azrael in it?
Oh,
I have every version of Nightfall. That's why I'm one, except for that one.
How do I have the one version of Nightfall that you don't have, Omar? That doesn't.
I don't know. Maybe I'm all Nightfalled out.
That cannot be a thing for the. This
was huge. I remember the comic store in the city next to me. Like, there was a dude that was dressed up as Batman. He was in a wheelchair. People knew that his back was going to get broken because they were riding on the coattails of the popularity of Death of Superman. It was that era of let's treat our superheroes.
Let's beat up our heroes.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's replace. I mean, and they did it with Green Arrow. They did it with Wonder Woman. They did it with so many characters, and yeah.
I also can't speak for everybody but somebody who has the No Man's Land Omnis and didn't bother getting Nightfall, Night's End, or Knight's Quest, those Omnis, it would be really nice to have all of this era in finest format where it's a lot more affordable, mapped the same and or better, and is a much cheaper alternative than those $150 reprints. Because my gosh, I can't with some of those.
Hey, Kane. Is this Batman or a Power Rangers villain?
You know what's really interesting to me about this from a release strategy standpoint is clearly this is several volumes after where DC currently is in releasing their post-crisis Batman Finest. And what's interesting is that some of this stuff after Nightfall is not in Omnibus yet. It's some of it is the top 10 stuff in the Omnibus poll, like Contagion Legacy. So they have a couple of different options here. They could put things out. They could just wait for the Batman line to get to this point. They could put out a Nightfall volume now. They could put out a volume, like a later volume, like Cataclysm, that's already been omnied just to capture people wanting paperback. Or maybe they tackle that stuff that could be omnied and isn't yet, with the idea that the omnis are never going to not sell. And there's such a hot demand for that material being collected. It hasn't been since it's been in trade paperback several years ago to like do the definitive version and find it. So they've got a lot of ways to go. We're talking about a 20 volume frame. And the reason it would be potentially, and the reason it's so many is because all of these are crossovers. And if they continue to follow the convention they've set in all the DC finest so far, the home book of the crossover has all of the chapters. So it's probably likely that this would have all the Nightfall chapters, all the Contagion Legacy chapters, all the Cataclysm chapters. So it's not just going to be Bat books. Whereas like if you look at the compendiums for Nightwing and Robin, when they do crossovers, they only collect the issues that are relevant to Nightwing and Robin. So the current working theory, because DC did comment at some point, like, yeah, there might be around 90 total Batman volumes, which is how we've mapped it on the DC tracking sheet. And it's like, okay, well, that means they're going to collect probably almost everything from all the 90s crossovers.
This is so well collected. Wasted vote. Excuse me. Did you not hear me? Sword of Azrael, not collected. So not
exactly.
100%
It's
true.
so well collected.
Let's start over. We're starting over from scratch. Is Contagion in the Tim Drake?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I think in the DC Finest poll vid, Contagion is like one of the actual events that has been decently or will be decently collected in that Robin Compendium 2 is coming out in December.
But they're skipping around some issues, right? It's only like the actual Tim Drake like main issues that are in it, or is it all of it?
It's not completely all of it, but it's a majority of the story to where I was just like, I'm surprised that they're placing all of these in this specific compendium.
Interesting.
No such thing as a wasted vote unless Omar's voting.
That's right. He'd find a way to put New Warriors Omnibus Volume 4 in this DC Finest poll.
Wow.
You should see what people write in, man. They will write in some crazy stuff.
That's true. That's a very true thing, unfortunately.
I agree with this. We do need Power Shazam. Give it to
him. That would be so cool.
That was one of my
what's the strangest thing someone wrote in?
I mean, other than Alf, which is always a write-in on every single poll. My favorite is when people write in things that are like explicitly on the poll. Like the first thing alphabetically on the poll, I think was like Ariane or something, or Azrael, and people were like, "You need Azrael as a line." I'm like, it's the first one. It's stuff is hard. People are on phone screens. There's 200 options. Like that's always a communications problem, and very rarely is it a problem with the user or the receiver of the message. But the part of me who spends dozens of hours prepping this, it breaks my heart when knowing that person loves Azrael so much and like couldn't find it on the poll. That upsets me.
And therefore you vote for it. Yeah.
I know that you can, I see all the results. There was a year, this was a few years back, whenever, oh my gosh, Lewis was still helping Jim doing this. You can scroll through what people want added. And one of the things somebody wrote was Omar sucks. So I was like, I'm going to find out who this MFer is. I'm going to delete all his votes. Oh, he's going to learn not to mess with me when I'm having a bad day as it is. Can't even read a long email these days. No, they need ChatGPT to.
They need an AI summary of the voting options. All right, let's
move on.
To number 5, which is Legion of Superheroes.
Oh, hey! 2 and 1, baby.
Number 5? Wow.
Well, yeah, that's great. No, I've sung this one's praises many times. I don't need to go on about it again. It's
highly under reprinted. I mean, is there any way to get it? And
no, again, this era was they had two small crappy trades for like issues 1 through 13 on bad newsprint, and really that was it.
And we're talking about a book, and I'm sorry, I'm excited when you're on the stream and we were talking about Legion because I get like ask you questions and you know the answers, which no one ever does about Legion. Like, take us back in a little bit of a time capsule. Everybody knows Legion has fans, but my understanding, this is a little bit before I was in comic book stores, was like if you walked into a direct market comic book store, the stuff that there were piles of on the rack and selling like hotcakes was Uncanny X-Men, Teen Titans, and this Legion reboot. Like this was like a top 3 in the industry comic book at that time.
Yeah,
there was nothing bigger than this.
It was, well, I mean, I should say X-Men was bigger, but yeah,
X-Men, but like categorically.
It was extremely high up there, and it absolutely broke the decision to migrate it into comic shops. They decide, well, this and New Teen Titans, we're going to put them into comic book stores, and then we're going to do a year of filler on the newsstand market, and then you'll get reprints. Absolutely broke my freaking heart because I was in, rural Iowa, and me getting to a comic book store was really hard. It was really, really hard. And the idea that like you'd have to wait a year to know what had happened was just ludicrous, and also something unsavory about buying reprints. So yeah, I mean, at the time, the storytelling was just top notch. It was absolutely top notch. It was that hit, and you had to keep going back month after month after month. There was some great sci-fi concepts in there. There was a bit of soap opera in there. It just kept dragging you along. Steve Lytle's art was absolutely crushing it.
I mean, I guess the only comparison I can make, and again, I rely on you to like validate this or not, is imagine if there was no reprint format of John Byrne's Fantastic Four. That's what it feels like to me. That's
exactly
buy this.
That's why it's polling so high, because if you're a Legion fan, it's extremely prized and it's extremely uncollected.
Whereas John Byrne Fantastic Four, it's in Masterworks, it's in Epic, there's omnibuses. Like this is at a similar level to that level of interest. So I know a lot of people are like, Legion, these Legion people are a bunch of little freaks, and that is true. Do not get me wrong.
We are. Oh, absolutely, we are. Yeah,
total freaks. But I just need you to understand how huge this material was in the 80s and how absolutely bizarre it is that DC will not print this 1984 run.
Yeah, I think it was also that the huge cast meant you never knew what story you were going to get. I mean, it was always going to be because, like, if you're collecting Daredevil, it's pretty reliable that Daredevil's going to feature in the issue. But you walked into a comic book store and there was a new issue of Legion, you had no idea which characters were going to be in it. So, it was extra exciting. I mean, like, and in the days when, like, I remember, like, I would be seeing every cover for the first time in the comic book store. There was no internet, there was no promos, there was no nothing. It was all fresh, new, boom, searing into your brain. Except weirdly, the one time they forecast the issue that Karate Kid was going to die. Spoilers, because he dies in issue 4, but issue 3 they chose to do next issue, and they previewed the cover to number 4, which clearly showed Karate Kid's going to die. I'm like, why the hell would you do that?
Well, it's a fake Mr. Miyagi will save him.
Well, no, again, as you say, if you're a Legion fan, this is our John Byrne Fantastic Four. This is our Frank Miller Daredevil. This is our Chris Claremont X-Men. It's what you want the most, and it's been underserved. Yeah.
Tessa, do people in your stores today know who the Legion are?
That's actually an excellent question, because it's not even being published, is it?
I get people asking for Legion stuff and what kind of stuff we have, and it's always like, well, whatever few back issues are around.
So do you think you could sell this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I carry every DC Finest, but there's definitely an audience for this, especially because if you want it, what else are you going to get?
Exactly.
Yeah. And it was one of those eras where, like, you felt like this is true of a lot of comic book titles. You felt like the story of the Legion's being written. Now there's been so many reboots, and you don't automatically feel like each story is thus, but it's like, this is the same story that began in the late 1950s. Continuing on, and Paul Levitz is of the mindset, I'm writing the continued story of the Legion of Superheroes. So yeah, oh God, it was exciting.
Awesome stuff.
I love how divided the chat is. Someone was asking where all these Legion people are coming from. Then there are people that are super, super excited. I really do think the Amethyst people need to meet the Legion people. Something has to happen here. I see a documentary in the works. All right, but let's go on with the top 4.
Thank you to
Ready
everyone
for
who
your
voted
top
for
4
this.
most wanted volumes. These are books that
Okay.
have already existed, and you all voted for future volumes or preceding volumes. But let's see what you all voted for. Drum roll, please, Lars.
No way.
You don't think drum rolls are too good for that? Okay. Moving on to number 4 is Batgirl, Cassandra Cain, Volume 1.
Yeah.
We talked about volume, like that's crazy that Batgirl dominated with two volumes. People are
3.
hungry
We
for
count the
this-
Barbara Gordon.
the true Batgirl. I'm talking about Cassandra Cain.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, Batgirl is 1/10 of the on-air results. That is wild.
I was thrown for a moment because I'm like, wait a minute, I bought this. No, I bought volume 2. Yeah.
Yeah, they started with
I bought
volume
volume 2.
2.
They started volume
So,
2. That's right.
I love
now,
the
DC,
mapping.
I asked DC point blank, is this like a mix of Barbara Gordon material and Cassandra Cain material? Because we needed to know how to list it on the poll. And they said no, there's enough Cassandra Cain material for the preceding book to not have Barbara Gordon. So you can read that one of two ways. One is that, much like Dom was just saying about the Contagion being in the Tim Drake compendium, this could have enough of No Man's Land that you see where Cassandra's origins are. Or B, Dom, if I'm not mistaken, isn't Huntress briefly Batgirl for like a little while in this period?
Yeah.
It's a little bit, but I would actually have this akin more to the Harley Quinn Birth of the Mirth DC Finest, where they pull in her specific storyline from No Man's Land and integrate it in, and I think they do the exact same thing with this volume.
I agree. So yeah, as verified by DC.
The previous Batgirl one that came out, we sold out of almost immediately, which is crazy.
Really?
Across, like 4 stores.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So you almost as if it's the most demanded omnibus in all of the comics land, like that quick of a sellout.
I mean, if you look, even on the secondhand market, it goes for MSRP or more.
Cassandra fans are real.
I remember when those trade paperbacks, because this is another title that they tried. This is the 3rd time they're trying.
Yeah, it was very frustrating because they didn't finish it out.
The first time they did it in thinner trades, and they got to volume 4. No, they got to volume 3, and then they did the Penguin story towards almost the end. Like they collected 2 stories towards the end of the run. Then they did it again in thicker trades, and I got excited. I was like, okay, this is it. This is going to be the time that we get all of Cassandra collected in. Nope. I think that one went to volume 3 and went a little further, but it didn't go past like where we needed to. So this is huge. And I love maybe that's the reason why people vote for this stuff. Because it was missed opportunities a few times in the past by DC. So I'm loving this amount of love that Cassandra's getting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, ready for your top 3, everybody? This is the books
Boy.
the majority voted for. You may or may not have voted, but I will go ahead and say there was one of these that I did vote for.
Ooh.
Hmm.
New Warriors.
I voted for one of them as well.
New Wars. Number 3 is Bronze Age Batman.
Ooh, yeah.
Crisis 1980s. So it goes from the Bronze Age to pre-Crisis, and that's the way we decided to just separate these so people knew what they were voting for.
What? Batman made top 3? That's crazy.
Well, Batman Bronze Age made top 3. This is stuff again that hasn't really been collected at all in any kind of format. Maybe a trade paperback here and there, but really not a lot. Yeah. Now this is where DC has stayed, because they plan on doing more Batman volumes is something that we were able to share. Like Batman, and
You're gonna keep publishing Batman? What?
No,
as opposed to Legion of Superheroes.
Well, yeah.
Like,
well, that was
so. What I'm saying is, they want to do like 4 or 5 Batman DC Finest volumes a year because they know that there's just so much of it that has to be collected.
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't know. Maybe Legion of Superheroes would only get 1 volume, but I don't know. Maybe the sales this year can be different, and they'll bump it up to 2 to 3 volumes. Because as you've seen, some of these titles, some of these books only have like 1 volume a year compared to the 2 or 3 that other titles are getting. So,
well, don't worry, Omar. We
Go ahead.
Legion fans have gotten used to disappointment, so it's okay.
I would say that that's really an aspect of this poll that I came to appreciate as the votes continued in, and then I saw the results and how stratified they are. It's not only that these books are like competing with one another, but it's hopefully going to help DC prioritize demand. And that doesn't always mean that they're going to always give you the most popular thing. They can't release all of the most popular books next year, or else there will be no more people excited to buy DC Finest. So some of these are guaranteed to not be the next books. Almost, that's not words of out of their mouths, it's words out of mine. But like, considering how many eras of Batman there are, I think it's really useful for them to be like, oh, well, here's the relative excitement about that. Considering how many different Flashes, Green Lanterns, and Batgirls there are, it's nice for them to see like, oh, okay, people are a little bit more excited for Babs than Stephanie Brown. Is that going to actually be the order they release it in? Who knows? But I think it was useful for me to change my mindset from all of these books are competing with each other, which on the omnibus poll, it kind of feels like they are, for actually all these books are jockeying for spots in however many they get that year as DC Finest, which Omar said for Batman is like 4 to 5 books.
It would be cool to see them bump it up. I mean, I know not, obviously Batman is their top seller, right? There's no denying that. It would be cool to see it bump up to as many as 8, because if you think about, if you're saying 90 volumes, and when did this line start, Dom?
November 2024.
All right, 2 years ago, right? And there's 90 volumes. I'm going to do something really sad right now. If they release 5 a year, that is 18 years that it's going to take to collect all of Batman. 18 years. Now, I'm not going to call anyone out, but if we all add 18 years to our age now,
Oh no, I'm fine. I don't know about you guys, but I'm
fudge that guy.
Hey, now you can't do that.
So seriously, I mean,
put him in timeout.
Seriously, that is if they're doing 5 volumes. It's going to take 18 years. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Can we maybe just eke it up to 6? Maybe just 6. Get down to 15.
6, 7. Omar, come on.
Oh God! But I mean,
now you got to kick them off.
This is something that I see often. When I talk about Omni announcements, whenever I talk about epics, and now DC Finest. It's people are like, hey, man, I'm in my 60s. I don't want to die before this line ends. I want to see it all. I remember one guy in specific, and unfortunately, he did pass away, so he didn't get to see the ending of the Conan line. But we would talk about Conan being collected in omnibus format, and I love that dude. I love talking to him. But it's the sad truth of collecting, right? Of wanting this stuff. People want it now, and that's why I was like, well, maybe they can bump it up. All right, enough morbid talk. Let's go ahead and do number 2.
Well, I mean, all of Batman's stories are mostly morbid talk, so I feel like it's completely appropriate.
I wonder if he was inspired by tragedy at all.
Great question.
Batman Bronze Age of the 1970s comes in as
okay.
So this is between The Demon Lives Again and The Curse of Crime Alley. Now, the reason we separated, again, it's because DC wanted to know exactly the era that you all wanted collected.
Well,
not just for Batman, but every one of these titles.
Well, and there's a dividing book between these. The Curse of Crime Alley splits it exactly at 1980. And so we didn't, if there was a book as a wayfinding, as a point, a pin in the map, we used that book to divide the options on the poll. So there was no time that we said any of the votes in the poll could encompass an existing book. So because of Curse of the Crime Alley, we split it between the 70s and 80s. And what's great about this is the DC Finest are a little bit shorter than a DC Omnibus. And clearly we've got that DC Bronze Age Batman Omnibus on the slate, which people are so hyped for. So even if DC keeps up the yearly pace on those omnibuses and a yearly pace in the Finest will trail the omnibuses a little bit. So they won't and we've seen DC release things in the same release frame before. Not only this with the omnibus coming out, they've done it with Suicide Squad, and they did it with Man of Steel also coming out in Absolute Edition. So there's no real competition between formats, and there's no reason we can't keep getting more of this and more of the omnibus.
So what I said earlier about the previous book, the Bronze Age in the 1980s, and this book is that, again, they haven't really collected a lot of this material outside of a few, what were those called? The Tales of Batman by there was Jerry Conway books.
They did some creative stuff.
But even those have been out of print for so many years.
Long time.
Each one of those goes for well over $100 and something. So that's why people are voting for these things, especially if you're coming into this right now. It's just a great time to come into collected editions. Okay, let's go with number 1.
Oh boy.
Maybe it's a surprise, maybe not. I don't know.
Uh,
The number one most wanted volume is Batman: The Post-Crisis Era. So
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think the moment that you told the whole world that they were going to be collecting Shadow the Bat in this specific line, I just went, all right, well, let's go ahead and make the number one slide and move on with our lives.
Well, I've been hearing people wanting this too. Like I've been hearing customers being like just desiring this, so it makes sense.
he got the top 3 votes. Like we kind of knew that was going to happen. Actually, I think Crisis and I had many conversations about what to do with Batman.
The Batman contingency.
What
like
do
the
we
Xavier
do?
protocol.
Because-
What do we
because
do?
There was that thing. It happens with whenever we do the polls at Marvel. You know, X-Men and Spider-Man dominate. We knew that Batman was going to dominate more so than X-Men and Spider-Man because he hasn't been collected that well over the years. And now people can speak up and be like, yo, this is what I want. I don't give a crap about this era, this era, this era. This is what I want. And this at one time was the number one most wanted DC Omni. And then it got overtaken by Batgirl, which I love to see. And, you know, we thought about making it a Batman poll, but then we kept going back and forth. And in the end, that's why we decided to do the 8 votes and 5 votes. Because as you saw, this wasn't dominated by Batman. Like
it was less than I expected, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, there were a lot of other surprises in there, such as the superheroes. But this was the only book. This is the only book in the top 10 that I voted for.
Yeah.
I voted for this, and I will say, on weight, this got almost 150% of the weight of even the next closest Batman book. Like this is this. In fact, I can tell you that of our 3,000 voters, close to 10% of all voters voted for this first. Like, I'm not just talking about total people who voted for it. I'm saying that, and when you get that kind of result, it's kind of like undeniable that everybody wants it. And I think, like Dom said, Shadow of the Bat being in it, just having them both interwoven, this being a really critical portion of Batman, even for me as not a huge Batman fan, I think this was my number one vote. Maybe number 2. I don't even remember. Yeah.
This might also be the nexus that all the generations can agree on because, like, you know, the 70s material, I imagine there was a healthy amount of boomers voting for that. But here, you know, the boomers read it, Gen Xers read it. Yeah. And it's really good.
There's other eras too. There's other generations like millennials.
Sure.
And
Yes.
And Gen Zers and
Gen Alphas.
Yeah, let's go. Gen Z stronghold, baby.
I don't know what the
I
hell
couldn't speak to what the Gen Z vote would be on this, but yes.
Okay, boomer.
Not a boomer.
All right. DC will print Batman, folks. No need to vote.
Yeah.
No, they wanted your vote. They asked for your vote. So that's why we put it on the poll. Okay.
Voted.
Now we're gonna move on to the top 10 DC finest. This is the new lines.
New lines. Okay.
Don't exist. So here we go.
Okay.
Would you like to take a guess, Tessa? Let's see if you do better this time.
Why are we picking on me?
Because it's ladies first. You want me to? Okay, fine. Lars, you go first.
Am I also ladies first? No. Well, Firestorm is surely in here.
Firestorm is what you think is number 10.
Oh no! Oh, what is number 10?
Yeah, what is number 10? How do we kick this on?
I don't know.
I think Firestorm is a decent guess, honestly.
Infinity Incorporated is number 10.
Wow, that's pretty.
I like that guess.
I don't know.
I like that guess.
Good luck. All right, here we go. Coming in at number 10 is Birds of Prey. Doesn't exist yet, but you all voted for it.
All right. Not bad at that.
Again, they can start wherever they want to. They just recently reprinted a lot of the Gail Simone trade paperbacks, but they could, I mean, they could just remap it, as we know they have a tendency to do, or start. Actually, it would be cool to start with the Chuck Dixon run and finally finish that off.
I feel like quite a bit of the Dixon run didn't get collected, did it?
No, just the first 3 trade paperbacks are out, and that was it. Plus, it's got great artwork by Gary Frank at the time. But it doesn't have the Huntress nor Ed Bennis on artwork. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call how they would start. Okay. That is your number 10. It's a great run. So many great writers on that. And then we had the new 52. Okay. Satana's coming in at number 9.
Wow.
That's a big surprise, honestly.
Okay.
She's having a year, man. Like people are into
having a year.
Are people getting this because Tessa, do you see people getting the new series?
Yeah, people are getting the new series. People are getting the Omni, the Paul Dini one that just came out. We almost completely sold out of that already. Like people have always wanted Zatanna, and now there's more than just like the Dini paperback out. People
really
want
good.
Zatanna so bad.
That's
Even the
heck of a good idea.
webtoon book sells, the Zatanna and the Ripper one.
And the beauty with a book like this is that they can map it different than, of course, the Paul Dini one, because this would start at the Silver Age and take you all the way through. Yeah, the Campbell one's good. My wife's enjoying that one.
I haven't read it yet. I read the previous one, but I haven't gotten to the new one yet.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I read in hardcover.
No. You read the first run in hardcover, Omar.
Whatever's
they relaunched it.
Oh, so wait,
more Jamal Campbell is the bottom line.
It's all Jamal Campbell, but they
relaunched.
It's new number.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I think Tessa, that's such an interesting point that I hadn't really thought too hard about, but like that there's certain characters that people know because they've read them in another book, or with Zatanna, she's in a lot of the cartoons, right? And a lot of those DC cartoon adaptations are really popular. And I bet like they come into the store and they're like, okay, so you've got Green Lantern and you've got Flash, where's Zatanna? And like you're kind of like, because
and DC doesn't have like that many solo lady books, especially that are not directly part of the Bat family. So it's like you got Wonder Woman, you got Zatanna.
Yeah. I love that she's like a featured player. I just think she absolutely ought to be. It's kind of wild to not use her that well. So I love that you sold out of the Omni. I love her in the top 10.
Yeah.
I have always liked this character. I guess there's just every now and again, the market just decides to think the character's cool because she's in the adaptations, but she's not been in a big motion picture. She's not in the live action stuff. I don't know. I think
has she not been in the live action stuff? I didn't like Gotham.
They've been clamoring for it for forever, though.
I can't think of one where she's been in live action.
Not movie wise.
No.
Yeah,
I think, but as you say, the comics seem to have been doing well. The Paul Dini one did well. I think comic producers decided she's cool.
And I will say that DC has been really smart about being like, obviously, Zatanna, beautiful woman, right? She's hot. She's got fishnets. They're doing the smart thing where just every single cover with her is fantastic. Like they're giving her great artists, great people, and it's definitely helping move the needle because people go, whoa, what is this cool thing?
And she's really good in DC Superhero Girls.
And most recently to a larger part of the fandom in Absolute Wonder Woman.
Oh, true. You can't overlook the impact of that.
I did have a former girlfriend who one time did offer to dress up like Zatanna. I said, I love you just the way you are. It's okay. I love you just the way you are. It's all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Like,
so is she single now? Like
I am single now.
Is she offering like to dress like that? Like
I was gonna say I could be interested.
Well, because she just said that I like the character, and she's like, well, if you want, I'm like, no, I like you just the way you are. It's okay.
No, you're so sweet, Lars.
I'll try. But no, Zatanna, great stuff. I haven't ordered the Dini Omnibus yet, but I'm gonna get a copy.
You know,
yay!
But Zatanna does not have the nicest legs in the DC universe. The next slot does, though. That is Nightwing. Coming in at number 8.
Nightwing. Nightwing's got the ass. Legs.
Coming in at number 8, baby. Doesn't matter if you got compendiums. Doesn't matter if they finished out the Chuck Dixon run and thick trades. People want it in DC finest. Hell yes. Plus, it can be mapped different too, adding things in a proper like reading order as well. Because the third compendium put things that they probably should have added in the first compendium. Yeah. So I love this run. So hell yes. I didn't vote for it though. I voted for it in omnibus format, but I didn't vote it in DC Finest. But my vote didn't matter. Everybody spoke up. Too. So yeah, coming in at number 8 surprises me honestly because we have compendiums.
Nightwing's so popular. Nightwing is really popular with the youths, like the young adults getting into comics. People love Nightwing,
and this has somehow become the definitive run. All due respect to some great runs after this, I really like the Tim Taylor, is that his name? Run.
Tom Taylor.
Tim Taylor.
He was the tool man.
But this is the one that you keep coming back to over and over and over again.
I mean, we don't have many other choices, Lars.
Well, Well, Nightwing's.
Well, I mean,
been
there's
run
the
for a
later
long
part of
time
this
now.
run. There's the Devin Grayson part. I mean, this just because we put a Chuck Dixon cover on it doesn't mean it has to start there. And in fact, given the fact that we're 3 compendiums deep into that, maybe it makes sense to put out like one of the later volumes of this in DC Finest
Well,
first,
because
and then find its way back to the beginning.
That's right. We need Tomasi's run back in print ASAP, so that's where they
Mhm.
should start off with this run.
A lot of
Dixon-
options on these.
Yeah. The Dixon run was his first ongoing title, but he's pretty much published constantly since then,
Yeah.
Except for when he's Batman.
except when he's Batman.
Yeah. And this DC did qualify that this would most likely start with Action Comics Weekly stories, which is why we have it starting in 1988.
Very cool.
And that it probably would not pick up anything from Titans because that would just be double dipping the Titans line, which
Yeah.
is already
Yeah.
existing.
Yep, that's just Titans.
And
I
then I
think a
assume
lot-
just go into the mini after that.
Yeah.
You would need the one shot in there. What's it called? The Search for Alfred or whatever.
Oh, I might have missed that on the list, but you would need that. You're right.
They tend to put it with the Nightfall stuff, which is fine.
Yeah,
But it's really a dick issue.
It is, and
Oh, someone's saying Zatanna was live action in Smallville.
yeah, that's
I
what
forgot about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never made it that far in Smallville. I got
Oh,
through
I
the
love
first 2
Smallville.
seasons. So,
someone saved him.
thank you. I get that reference. All right. Let's move on to number 7. Tessa, what is this?
Holy buckets.
I was gonna
Holy
say those
buckets.
hardcovers are so out of print, and I have them,
Yeah.
but I want more. This is great.
And that is Booster Gold. Starting
My
with the
favorite part about this series is that it states that Booster Gold is 6'4", so he's taller than Superman, and I just find that very funny. Just Booster Gold, the behemoth of a man. Was a footballer, makes sense.
man, I love his character
He must-
from the
he must have
beginning.
Norwegian blood.
Love him.
And he keeps the same type of tone throughout his series, and then JLI, and then
Mhm.
when Jeff Johns picks it up after the 52 pickup.
After
Yeah, that era. Oh man, it's so good. And you're right; those standard size and they were standard size hardcovers. Those have been long out of print.
Really, I think they're deluxe.
Don't do this.
I think one is
No,
deluxe
but-
and the second is standard size. That's
Well,
no.
the first showing up is
Oh,
to
they
have
were
so many of
uneven.
this first issue.
Oh
Okay.
wow! Look
Wow,
at you!
good
You're
lord.
gonna be so rich,
My,
Tessa.
my, yeah.
nice.
Now, I perceive that the Jeff Johns 2007 series might actually be more popular than the original.
Oh, for sure.
Tessa, is your love equal, or do you love the later stuff more than the original stuff?
Probably nostalgia pick for just loving the old stuff a little more. Like I have Dan Jurgens sketches and my old hardcovers and everything. But they're both excellent. I love him in 52. I just love him. He's my sweet baby boy.
How do you feel about Blue and Gold?
I think they're perfect. They're my favorite couple. I have the little Funko Pops on my desk at work.
Okay.
Boost
I
still
love the
till I
boyfriends.
die.
You've read Justice League International, I presume.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Also, Kevin McGuire is a buddy of mine, so we've talked
Oh,
about
okay. All right. Okay.
Oh, that's
And-
cool.
it. It's not cool, I promise.
Not cool.
And I think, going to your point about the hardcovers and that they've been so out of print, DC does this thing where they like put one half of this in print and then that goes out of print and then they put the other half and it's like,
Yep.
and some of them are hardcovers and some of them were paperbacks. It's like, dear God, it's not a lot of comic books. And again, this is a perfect slam dunk for Finest. What is this? 3 volumes, maybe 4? Like, just get them out there. It's easy to keep them reprinted. They're all in a common format to each other. It's just, to
Mhm.
me, this is like the thesis statement of what the Finest line is about: is get a character with a finite amount of material, not Batman with 90 volumes, get them in print and make it so you could keep them in print. And I think Booster Gold is perfect for that.
I was gonna say he has 2 runs and they were like finished. No minis or anything like that. It's just that. That's it.
That's it.
And the
Yeah, I think
Time
it's 3.
Masters. Okay, we're gonna move on to
Mm.
this is another one I'm happy to see. This
Yes!
is the Martian Man
Yes, let's
This was my number
go.
1.
coming in at number 6, and I can't remember his spot in the omnibus, but it was also pretty high.
It was very high.
So
top 10.
it pleases me to see this because this is another series that I think there were 2 trade paperbacks and that was it, and was not collected fully in any kind of format. So This is the era of Ostrander, but kicking it off in the 1950s, of course. So we'll have some classic stuff mixed in with some new stuff. This is, I'm wondering if you see this, Tessa, because on TikTok, there are several people that want me to do how to collect Martian Manhunter, and I'm like, I don't think
the answer is you can't.
You
I
can
understand
get.
'cause he's a more confusing character. Like, it's a little harder to get into.
And I think a lot of it has to do with what you said earlier, is the absolute Martian Manhunter popularity. People think that the character has been around for so long that DC has just collected him so well over the years. So when I show them my shelf of 2 trade paperbacks, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty much it. Like, and then absolute Martian Manhunter. People are surprised that there wasn't more.
I was noticing it before then. I don't know if like the Steve Orlando run helped like jumpstart him, or if he was just in something else. But people just were like interested in him in general, and it's kind of a hard guy to just grab something and read if you're a newbie to comics. So this is awesome.
I absolutely hate TikTok, but it's not just you.
It's
but you gotta do what you gotta do.
A lot of people are focusing on the Ostrander of this, and of course we saw that do very well on the Omnibus poll. That's why I use the same image here, but there's a lot of Martian Manhunter that we could get in color. He had Silver Age material actually very early in the Silver Age. He was appearing as a backup in Detective Comics. That had, I can't even remember if it had an archive, but it was in Showcase. We haven't had it any time recently in color. And then in his immediate post-crisis stuff, there's 10 or 8 issues that we've never had. And then he had an 8-issue series in the 2000s that had really great artwork that also has not been recollected since then, to my knowledge. So this is one where it's like, again, not a ton of volumes. And I really think in the same way that people walk into shops and says, so sell me some Zatanna. And the answer previously was, there's really not a lot to sell you. Like, the answer here is truly, I've got nothing. I truly have nothing. There's that recent Steve Orlando, Riley Rossmo. There's absolute Martian Manhunter, and then it's like heads in the back issue bins.
Yeah.
I don't remember this one. Did they do a showcase?
Yes, there are showcase books, because that's how I got the map. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Cody? Eating chocos right now.
Oh, hi, Cody.
And apparently Ostrander is money, because they just keep coming out with more of his stuff. And
the Ostrander later Suicide Squad trades, they go for so much money because it's so hard to get any of his stuff.
Yeah, and because they haven't collected it in omnibus format yet, they're getting through it. So that's probably why. And that's another run that DC, I have to give it props. They successfully went all the way through it and did it.
And presumably they will on the omnibuses too. I don't know if 3's been solicited, but
I would think that they're selling well for them.
I would think so.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
I'm officially campaigning to get some Martian Manhunter reprints next year. I'll take an absolute, an omnibus, finest, whatever we got to do. I want a Martian Manhunter book in my hands, DC. Do you hear me? That's what I want in 2027.
How are you campaigning?
This is my opening speech. I'm announcing my candidacy right now to have Martian Manhunter be printed in 2027.
Are you chaining yourself to the front of DC headquarters in Burbank?
No, but I might send them chocos.
Okay.
Well done. Okay, let's move on to number 5, which is the Hellblazer.
Right. Okay.
John, what's his last name? Lars, what's his last name? John what?
Constantine? I don't know.
Sure. All right.
I enjoyed the noise that Lars made, though. Let's remember that we can get him to make that noise.
I'm so used to him having answers for everything.
But pronunciations and the problem is you start hearing things mispronounced so often. The mispronunciation starts to become the dominant one. I mean, it's pop. No, I can't tell that story. I'm trying to remember. I think on Legends of Tomorrow he was called Constantine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's America. We pronounce it Constantine.
Legends of Tomorrow, Tomorrow made in Canada.
I was gonna say the Salmon Show was Constantine or something. Yeah.
Now I will point out that, of course, we had those 26 trade paperbacks collecting all of this material.
Yes.
They were only 260 to 360 pages each, so basically half-ish of a finest. So we can immediately ballpark that this is probably around 13 finest because we know how long that paperback line was. The thing that would make this distinct from the omnibuses is the omnibuses are really treating themselves as creator-centric. So if there's one later Garth Ennis issue, if there's one earlier Jamie Delano issue, that's going in the title that's of the omnibus that goes with that writer. Here we would be able to get everything just in sequential publication order, which even the paperbacks did not always do. Sometimes the paperbacks, I assume just for size and fitting issues, would sometimes hold back like a graphic novel or something and put it into a later paperback. So this would be unique in a map probably from either of those two existing formats. And I think that this is just one of those characters that DC has long since realized that there's always money in printing Hellblazer. There's always somebody new who's discovered Constantine. There's always somebody to buy it. So it doesn't really shock me that it's in the top 5 here.
And they can just, they can make it fatter. This is the one that we, a lot of questions were brought up about Vertigo, if they were ever going to do a DC Finest Vertigo line. And the rule that we were told was as long as the characters had crossed over in the DC main universe, that they would do a DC Finest line, which is why we added things like, not just this, but you saw, well, they did Swamp Thing, of course, which eventually became a DC Vertigo book, but it didn't start off that way. Which is why we also put Sandman in there. All right, let's move on to the top 4. Ready for your top 4 most wanted new lines. Here we go. End of the line, people. Thank you. Hit that like button. Woo! Power Shazam.
Wow.
Shazam!
Holy cats.
So, this is the Shazam era of the 40s all the way to 2011 again, collecting a lot of those Fawcett comics that I think some have been collected, right, Lars?
Yeah, there's been some sporadic attempts to collect this one, yeah.
But they always stop at the ones that tend to be, how do I put this? For lack of a better word, a little racist, And I wonder, things like that, how they'll handle it when it comes to Finest.
Yeah,
it's probably what they did for some of the DC ones. They were saying this is not something we stand by today, but an effort to preserve history. Like this is how they originally printed.
Oh yeah, every single book before 1986, or before, like Crisis seems to be like the middle point for that. It has.
I'm doing what now?
Disclaimers, basically.
Disclaimers about how these are comics of those specific eras where racism had a larger role to play in society, blah, blah, blah. I could probably tell you the actual warning from top to bottom.
Well, but again, this is okay. But this is specifically 1978 to 2011. This is not.
It's
no. That's a mistake. No. It's on the left. It's right. 1940.
Oh, it is the Golden Age. Well, again, there's a huge stonking difference between the Golden Age and the Jerry Ordway stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I from memory they solicited a Monster Society of Evil collection, and then they took a second look at the material and went, "Whoa, that's not something we should countenance publishing." So they canceled that one.
There's this amazing history of Captain Marvel and how at one point it was outselling Superman, and they started expanding on the family and making Mary Marvel and Captain Marvel Jr. And the company that was printing it in the UK eventually lost the license, and that's where we ended up getting Marvel Man, because they thought, well, surely no one's gonna notice that Captain Marvel is gonna look a lot different and have like blonde hair, right, and a new outfit without a cape. And that's where we got one of the greatest comics of all time by Alan Moore. It's really freaking cool, just the history of all this. And then even more so when you get into Marvel going, hey, you know what, we should buy the rights to the name Captain Marvel. And to this day still do. Although I did hear that they're calling him Captain Marvel again.
Like I said in the crossovers, they haven't been shy in calling him that at all.
So they don't call him the Captain anymore.
No, but obviously you can't put it on the front of your book and
certainly
say,
can't put it on the
I mean, that's what they were doing during this time with the Power of Shazam. They weren't putting it on the title, but his name in the book was Captain Marvel. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's a long history
Well, again, yeah, the long history makes it prime for DC Finest, but how much of the material is so racist that you'd balk at that? I don't know.
Oh, and by the way, this is something I find really interesting. I don't know if anybody else gives a crap about this, but whenever you see a label, this is a product of its time, it doesn't necessarily mean it's racist, homophobic.
Certainly.
There was a sticker on the Sesame Street season 1 DVD that had this was a product of its time. The reason it was there was because in one of the episodes, the kids are taught to go door to door and meet your neighbors. And you don't do that.
Plus, they keep giving them cigarettes. But the other thing that I want to point out about this is Shazam potentially has the most material of almost everybody if we were only taken through the end of the Golden Age. Clearly Batman outstrips him in the long run, but there's so many different points that they could be printing in here, because they could be printing his 70s stuff, they could be printing his post-crisis stuff. He does have some 2000s era material, so like I think that risk of hitting the racist era of the Golden Age material is kind of lessened because of the format of DC Finest. Like, put it out in Golden, see if it sells, see if people show up for it. In the meantime, kind of like, seed the market with getting some of that 90s stuff out that's really well liked. And then when the Golden Book sells through, put out another volume of the Golden Book and just keep doing it until people stop showing up because it's objectionable. I mean, Finest is a great format for that. And because Shazam is not necessarily like a strict continuity, wherever they stop, we'll be happy to have some of it restored.
Well, or put out the Jerry Ordway stuff, which is not
it's so amazing.
Which is not objectionable on that level and is gorgeous.
All right, are we ready to get on with it?
Number 3.
That's every date I've ever
Keep it
had.
moving.
Right. We're gonna go on to number 3. All-Star Squadron.
Wow.
That is coming in really high.
Yeah.
Number 3.
That's crazy, actually.
Retro series taking place in the Golden Age by Roy Thomas, who obviously really loved that era because he did the same thing with the Invaders at Marvel and did the same thing here. And then this is what Lars was talking about earlier. Eventually it spun out into the Infinity Incorporated as the legacy characters. But this this also did really well on our DC Most Wanted.
Who did it? Was like number 8.
That is David Gabriel's Most Wanted DC Omnibus.
Sure.
Was the All-Star Squadron.
Yeah.
None of this, right? None of this has ever been collected. I don't think.
Again, I think there's
been collected.
I think there's been a showcase. But
a showcase? Okay, I didn't think.
And it's been collected in with the Crisis stuff. Some of it's in with Crisis.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Like that.
So and in the Justice League of America, I'm blanking on it, but the one before
the crossover stuff will have been collected, but starting with issue 1 and
the return
now.
Never all of it in color sequentially.
No.
Oh, nice. Yeah, be nice to
and
have
DC confirmed explicitly they think of this as being separate from the JSA because this is retroactive continuity of these characters in World War II told later. So if it's a told later in World War II story, it is an All-Star Squadron story. If it's just an Earth 2 story, but it's in the present day, it is a JSA story.
That's a good call on their part, honestly.
It is. It is. Like, now, if you're into Jeff Johns' JSA, how many readers of that wouldn't want this? I don't know, but treat it separately.
Yeah.
All right, are you all ready for your top 2?
Top two.
Yeah. Think
all
by
right.
this point.
Here we go. Let's see how close Lars was.
Okay.
Oh,
wow. Firestorm coming in at number 2 is huge, considering how popular he was in the Omni poll. People don't give a crap. They're like, give me Firestorm in every format that DC has put. Give me absolute Firestorm. Maybe when we do that one day. But yeah, this is huge. Again, I think this is lack of collected editions for this character and including all of Firestorm. That's the beauty of doing things like DC Finest, where we have just so many different eras of the character. But of course, I would start it off with the Jerry Conway stuff because that stuff hasn't been collected and it would be just so awesome to see it. And then later on moving, what was it? Was it Gail Simone and then Ethan Van Sciver that series?
But that was New 52, so that would never be collected in DC Finest.
Never say never.
No, never.
That would be modern era DC Finest.
Oh God! Please, there's 90 Batman volumes.
Omar,
them focused.
Omar,
we gotta make you wait.
This had first place votes from about 5% of all voters.
Wow,
So-
that's huge.
That's big.
Yeah, I mean,
And then
people are. It's just. I think it's got all. We were all skeptical would it do as well in this poll because it's been creeping up and up and up on the omnibus
Yeah.
poll. On the omnibus poll, there's the allure of like, oh, it could just be knocked out in 2 volumes in that main run. People tend to like when a classic run can be knocked out in 1 or 2. Here, I think we're really seeing it's kind of this magic mix of qualities. It's that it's severely underprinted. It's that it's Conway, and Dom always has to correct me, Ostrander, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Later
it's Conway
on,
and
yeah.
Ostrander basically
Ostrander,
splitting that original
Ostrander
100 issue
yeah.
series
It's
between
like right in
them.
the
So
middle.
they're 2 hugely popular writers. And it's also that this character is currently out in a book that's on the market right now. He's got a great visual look. He's been on the TV shows. Like it's kind of like all of the formula together, all of the things that kind of create that magic for people to be really rabid for a character, even though he's not hyper popular, is there for this character. And it's crazy to me that he outranks Martian Manhunter. For me, like logically, I would think like Martian Manhunter is like a core JLA character. I would think that people would be more rabid for that. But Firestorm, I think the time is just here. I think we're just at like a zeitgeist moment where people really want to buy him.
He was just fun. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just fun to read. And then when he got added to the Justice League,
Mhm.
and he's the fun teenage character around these older sticks in the mud. And then they added him to the Super Friends cartoon,
Yep.
which was really fantastic. Pat Broderick's art is really good. Yes. Now, again, down the road, amend this because when it says Flash 289 to 293, there's more than that. The one collection we have infuriatingly stops mid-story. It doesn't, because it collected the George Perez Flash backups, but there were more. It continued on without Perez, and those didn't get collected. It's like,
Oh my God.
but the story hasn't ended.
Mhm.
That's how bad we've had it. The one collection we have is inadequate.
I was trying to get those issues added to the Justice League Bronze Age Volume 4. The
Okay.
Firestorm issues.
Well, that would be okay too.
If they ended up doing it or not, the whole thing or not. So Major Bummer is not number 1. I can tell you. I can tell you that.
I mean, you might think number 1 is a major bummer. I don't know. Can't speak for you, but
I guess we will see. All right.
I think we know.
now I
Number
will
1.
say this number 1, it got almost double the votes of Firestorm, and you just heard how many votes Firestorm got. So
I think if you also watch the first stream, you probably already have a good idea.
If you watch
number
the first
one.
stream, you can take a good guess.
It
is indeed the New Warriors. Just kidding. The number 1 most wanted new line that you all voted for, and we're sending it right to DC, but they're probably watching, is the Batman.
Wow.
Yep.
What a
Oh,
shock.
Absolutely.
A Batman book.
Hey,
Color
Tom,
release.
what are you doing? Quit channeling the chat. You're supposed to hype this up.
Yes, guys. We
There
got
we go.
Batman Legends of the Dark Knight. Number 1. All of the Tim
Better.
Sale stories, the Dennis O'Neil stories, Batman Gothic by Grant.
All right.
Oh my god.
Don't oversell it. Just enough. That was good. This stuff. Yes. Okay. I saw this one coming. Honestly, I thought this is the one that people want, whether it's in omnibus format or whether it's in DC Finance. It's another line.
What the people want.
Yeah, got to give the people what they want. Yeah, I told you to quit channeling them. This is going to be interesting again how it's collected, because eventually it will start crossing over with the Batman main line, because in the idea was to have this all set in the past, like past solo Batman stories. Yeah. Lars,
Yes,
thoughts
sir.
on this? Thoughts on the number 1?
I'm normally not into quote anthology series, but I'm really into because they just, I don't know, there's not enough consistency to them. But this one, it's like every story was kind of a bold experiment, and every story was kind of a gift from different creators. So yeah, I would look forward to, and again, I nipped in and out of it at the time. Again, my access to comic book stores was kind of I would look forward to just starting with issue 1 and plowing on through this once again. And so many talented people worked on this. And again, like I say, they kind of came in and did their best work, because, if you know that you're doing 3 issues or 4 issues or whatever it is, bring us your best. And boy, howdy, they did. And because it was like sort of in continuity, sort of maybe not, they had a little more flexibility there. yeah, God, this is really good. It's really, really good. I mean, I'm not into how the line finished. I'm not into the later stuff, but it was so good for so long.
It stuck around for a long.
It stuck around for a long time, long time.
And then they tried it again with what was it, Batman Chronicles in the aughts, but yeah, just nothing could match that power.
I find it interesting that you're putting in the Long Halloween material because the Long Halloween material is kind of touted as being in the vein of Legends of the Dark Knight. It's like, well, it's sort of in continuity, but it sort of isn't. It's a new take on stuff you've seen. It's very much in the same tradition. So yeah, really good.
Where is Warlord or Lobo? They are hanging out with the Raid. You can find out where they ended up in the poll if you join our Patreon, because they were
Blue Devil didn't make it either. Yeah.
Blue Devil. My favorite Blue Devil quote actually comes from Jeff Johns' Teen Titans run, where Red Devil appears.
Yep.
And they're all talking about Red Devil, and they were like, yeah, he's Blue Devil's sidekick. And somebody says, oh, I thought Blue Devil was the sidekick. He's Red Devil.
Here's a spoiler. Blue Devil beat Warlord and Lobo.
What?
Wow.
I believe that because Lobo's had a compendium and we're getting
Warlord does
omnibuses.
Blue Devil is nothing in this life. People think he's a sidekick.
It's true.
No Captain Carrot for Curtis. No,
Or humor.
Captain Carrot.
I think humor ended up being in his top 2.
But I think you've just proved why this poll is actually helpful because, like, I would buy a Blue Devil collection, absolutely. But apparently, there's not enough of us, so it didn't rank that high.
And that is the important part, right? The numbers shall speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on that note, thank you for voting and watching, everybody. That this was our first annual one. So if you were here on the ground floor, if you voted this year, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No humor, no romance, no action, no adventure.
I was wondering if romance would end up in there.
For the new line, I thought it would, right?
Mm.
I'm surprised Western made it that high, though.
I believe Young Heroes in Love was on the list. So
it was on
Liefeld and Hawk and Dove Love. I love that Carl Kessel Liefeld miniseries. Give it to me in omnibus format. Excited to do this next year.
Young Heroes in Love was in
from here based off this poll. Same. Curious too.
Young Heroes in Love was kind of an odd romance series because there's clearly junctures where like clearly they're all having sex, but sex is portrayed as like they're kind of seen like I don't know, dancing, prancing together. There's no it is
Lars really wants to talk about Promethea by Alan, that one issue.
That's been very well collected. I don't need more of it.
Both Lars and I love Promethea, so
yeah, we do.
Okay. We can always talk about Promethea. It's a great series.
I love that series.
I've had again people who aren't comic book fans who are really into Promethea. So yeah,
it's also not an easy read too.
No.
Thank you everybody that voted. Thank you to all the people that helped put this together because it was no easy feat. I know that Crisis is I think he's taking off about a month, right, to rest and relax and get re-energized after doing this poll.
There are certain people in my life who have a missing persons alert out for me right now after the past couple weeks of poll activity.
Let me get this super chat really quick. Between the two lines, what got the most? Oh, that is a good question. The Legends of the Dark Knight or post-crisis early 90s Batman?
Post-crisis Batman has slightly more weight, but that's because first place votes on the volume side were worth 8, and first place votes on the line side were only worth 5. In terms of raw first place votes, post-crisis did no. In terms of raw first place votes, Legends of the Dark Knight stomped everything. Nothing came close to raw.
That makes sense.
As good as the other one is, yeah.
Yeah.
Detectives needs to be done as a DC finest.
Yeah.
I think I might have just done something. Hold on.
It's okay. We'll just get rid of it. This is why we don't put you in charge of things. Okay.
Whoa.
Just the streaming things.
You can be in charge of me. It's fine.
Okay. I said things.
Okay. Lars, look at what you've done, man.
What have I done?
What has he wrought?
What have I done?
So let's wrap it up then. Dom, where can people find you, buddy?
You can find me on this channel where I will apparently be taking over for Omar in 1.5 weeks on Saturday.
Oh, yeah,
Perhaps
they forever.
with another person on this panel, perhaps. Whoever
Okay.
that might the person be, you'll have to figure out. But you can check me here at Near Mint Condition. I also do my own YouTube channel where every single month I have a show with Curtis where we talk about all of the DC finest that have released for that month and will be released. And also on my website where you can track all of these books as well. So I want to thank everybody for watching us five talk about these books, and until the next time, really appreciate it.
And Crisis, what about you, buddy? Where can people find you?
Well, my home on the internet is crushingcrisis.com. It's Crisis spelled with a K, where I have reading guides to a lot of these DC characters and just about all of Marvel. And I also post videos that I'm doing both here on Near Mint Condition and on my own channel, which is Crushing Crisis on YouTube. I appear every Sunday or Monday if you're in Australia or New Zealand to do a stream that is a lot like the things we talked about here. There's often a slideshow, there's often some data, there's some screaming, and of course, fabulous hair. So please do stop by and join me for one of my Sunday streams.
But Crisis, how much Hawk World content is on your website?
Not enough. There's this guy, cannot plug his channel enough, called Higgy Pop Comics, and he's a Hawkman super fan, and he will dress up as Hawkman to do his videos and live streams. And I think it is the most delightful comics YouTube of everybody. Sorry, Omar and Dom, but my favorite comics YouTube is Higgy Pop.
Look, buddy,
He
okay.
dresses as
Hawkman.
That's okay.
Okay, if that's all it takes, I'll put on a Hawkman costume.
He's gonna put on a
I'll do that.
Hawkwoman costume. I'd love to see Omar in a Hawkwoman.
Golden
costume.
Age,
Yes.
Silver Age, you name it. I'm in. Let's do it. I need
Kendra,
to
I'll be
make some
Shiara.
views.
Let's go.
Yeah, I need the views, man. Okay. Tessa, where can people find you?
I have a Discord. You can hang out in there, chat with all of us. That's really fun. I have a YouTube.
Ooh.
Follow that because I'm going to do some Supergirl content this month before the new movie drops.
Okay.
I have Instagram, TikTok, kind of have Blue Sky and Twitter, but Tessa's a nerd on everything.
All right. And Lars, where
Yes,
can
sir.
people find you, my friend?
Yes, sir. Lars Pearson, publisher and editor-chief of Mad Norwegian Press. We will soon be doing a pre-order for our second edition of About Time 2, which covers the Patrick Troughton years of Doctor Who. The interior of the book is done. I hit the brick wall with the cover today, and I had to call a graphic designer that I know and go, help me.
Help me.
But we will soon be fixing that and getting it up for pre-order.
All right. And I am the Uncanny Omar. I've got 2 more live streams before I take off for the UK. One on Wednesday at 8 and the other one on Saturday at 11 a.m. So, yes, of course. I remembered that. Yes. The epic announcements will be at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. We're announcing the January to March 2027 Marvel Epic announcements.
Okay.
I think I need 2 more covers. I've got all the content. I need to actually, thank you for that reminder, Phil. I need to
Thank you.
reach out to Marvel.
And he will, of course, be joined by the Eisner-nominated designer Curtis Finley.
So I should let Curtis out of the hole in which he's trapped right now.
No reprints as of right now, but I did ask them, and I'll remind them again if maybe that's another list. I know that they're gonna do some because they asked for the list of Omnis and Epics, so it's up to them though what to put out. Wrong country. I'm going to the wrong country. I'm going to the UK, man. And more on the announcements. Yes, yeah, a lot more. Since I was only able to do 1 or 2 per announcement. Okay, that's it, everybody. Thank you all so much. Thank you to my wonderful panel. You kept the energy going. You got excited. Lars, I don't know why it shocks me. I don't know why it shocks you to still get excited over Legion of Superheroes. Jumping into the top 10. It's crazy. But
Twice at that.
2 times, man.
If
Tessa,
you need to boost ratings, and Omar, if you need to boost ratings, you can dress up as Maddie Pryor, and I'll dress up as Saturn Girl in her bikini outfit.
Oh gosh,
Madeline
why?
Pryor.
We were doing so well.
Wait, which
3 hours?
Madeline Pryor? The jumpsuit Maddie or the Goblin
yeah.
Queen? What are we talking about?
Not
He's talking about-
the
I'll do
Alaskan
the
pilot
jumpsuit.
Maddie.
I'll play it
Hellfire-
safe.
I was kind of hoping
Hellfire-
that you were going to volunteer to dress up as Havoc if Omar.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
You know, when
Right.
he's like,
I would-
Hellfire
do-
Gala Maddie
Dibs on Havoc. Yes.
Okay, no, we're not doing that. Not on the air. All right, thank you everybody for watching. Hit that like button on the way out.
Bye.
You're out of here. Have a wonderful evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are.